Hey. It is Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020. This is Brandon Toy, host of the Ranty with Brandon show. Hope everybody's doing good out there. We have a few people in the Discord already, including Ranty Flat Earth, who is no doubt here to tell us about his new project and the news he dropped earlier today. So we'll definitely be going over there very shortly. Let me say hello to everybody in the Discord. Mark Beretta says, congrats, Brandon. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. Ian Adams, Individual One, Ute Flat for Life, Bill G, Enigma, page 42. We've got Matrix Media, SE Montreal, Leah Templar, hey Leah, Logan's Run, and Gently's Channel. Hope everybody's doing good out there. And let me drop the link in the chat if you want to support the show. Any support's appreciated. The best support you can give the show is to come on and tell us what you think. Show us a presentation, show us a video, share some news with us, or just join the chat. Joining the chat's fine too. Not everybody likes to talk on the show, but just being here is definitely enough. Appreciate all the support we can get. And I am going to go to the Discord now, and we'll see what's going on. I see Ranty's light is already lit up.
Well, my son, like you, and you got a load of crap for it, but my son had a dark, shadowy figure used to come and visit him. So I gave him a magic sword, and he was to fight him off with, and it kind of stopped after kind of that. But it was quite strange, because it was I never found out it was going on for months. And I never got told about it. So I asked him about it, and he started explaining. It used to come and visit him, just a dark shadow kind of thing. So
yeah, it's amazing how many people have these experiences when they're younger, and they can still vividly remember them. And I'm one of those people. So to hear that people are still experiencing these and hear their stories, to me, that's so much more enjoyable for me, right now. Don't forget, I've been arguing these Globers now for 5 years, maybe more.
Oh, dude, I get it. Don't worry. And I totally understand.
Just the thought of doing, what Brandon's doing now, what he's going to be doing, taking over again and restart. I was doing the show for 15 months, and you put that in 5 days every week for 15 months, and eventually your head's like, yeah. And I just thought, can I go back to this? I thought, well, will I be able to give what my audience want? And the answer was probably no. So I thought, well, I might as well let Brandon just take over and carry it on. There's no point in me getting attached to the channel, because sure, yeah, I built it up, but it would just go mothballed if I just left it, right? And nobody, it would just leave. So I might as well just give it away to somebody else that's going to make use of it. And Brandon's doing a good job.
Plus you're handing on the subscribers, because if you'd went into mothballs, then someone starting up a new channel would take fucking ages, and to get that kind of the viewing figure. So I think that's a brilliant idea. I think it's very honourable of you, and it was a great choice. I don't think you'll regret it. I think it's a good choice.
What's up, guys? I've been in here for a minute, so you guys kind of broke the news to the audience already if they didn't know. But what's going on?
Oh, hey, sorry, I hadn't realised you'd put us on, but yeah. Well, if anybody hasn't really seen what's going on right at the moment, you're now the channel owner, Brandon. How's it going, Ranty?
Hey, good so far. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, we were just saying, it's like Ali B said, if you try to start a channel up on your own, and anybody, if you look at, and this is no disrespect to any of the other channels out there, but we've got Emma, who has a Discord server, she does her own, Emma UK, we've got Bev Try Thinking, he's got his own channel, we've got Cleary, and a lot of people like these are stopping by right now in the chat, and they know how hard it is to grab a subscriber. And I'm sure as soon as they get one subscriber, they get really excited about it, because I was in that situation as well at one time, you know, where every subscriber made a big difference to you. Going from 240 to 241, you woke up, you felt great the next morning. It really did make a big difference. So it's really, really, really hard to start off on a Flat Earth channel getting subscribers. So as Ali B says, you know, just giving you the channel with the subscribers already there and an audience already there, it's a great help for Flat Earth. And like I said, I couldn't guarantee that I'd be able to put the commitment in that you can put in. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you're taking over there, Brandon.
Yeah, well, it's awesome. I mean, I definitely realized that I fell into a good situation as far as that goes. And you know, when you first asked, you know, is there anybody out there who was interested, I really gave it a lot of thought. And it came down to, I didn't want to see the only reason I volunteered was I didn't want to see the community go away. That was the most important thing. Because it's hard. I don't know if you can really build a Flat Earth channel up huge from scratch anymore because of all the algorithm stuff. And I think you really have to be lucky now. Back in the day when they were pushing Flat Earth videos and they'd actually come up in people's feeds, it might have been possible, but they're definitely trying to make it more impossible. So I really appreciate it. I think it's very generous of you, and I appreciate the trust, and I hope I live up to the gesture for sure.
Well, whatever direction you take the show in, I'm sure you'll do a good job. As I said in the well, we've talked anyway, so if you wanted to rebrand, you know, you could always rebrand. That's entirely up to you. If you want to do some new artwork again, that's entirely up to you. It's just it's your platform now to do whatever you want. And there was a bit of discussion between us as well when we were saying you felt that you wanted to try and keep the Ranty name in there somehow. And I'm like, well, listen, mate, you don't have to do that just because it's known as the Ranty channel. So, I mean, maybe you're going to put a poll out or something to see whether or not you want to try and keep some kind of rantiness in there. But I'd be quite as happy if you just made it your own, you know. But it's entirely up to you. I mean, I'd be interested to know what the rest of the panelists think. What was the name? Actually, first and foremost, though, what was the name that you told me before? Was it Ranty's Rejects?
No. The Ranty Rejects.
Yeah, the Ranty Rejects. Yeah, that's what I thought you was going. You said to me that you was considering calling it the Ranty's Rejects. So I'd like people's opinions on that. so here we go. I'm putting you on the spot. Come on, guys. You're in the audience now.
Just let me just say I'm not completely in love with it. I'm just kicking stuff around. But that's you would be surprised how hard it is to come up with a good name. But happy to hear anybody's feedback.
Nicknames?
Say that again, Claire.
Anybody ever nicknamed you? Do you have a nickname?
Oh, I don't know. Nothing that stands out.
Branty.
You've got Branty in now, haven't you? But I don't know. He has. You know, some people want to put their own mark on something, you know, and you get it sounds horrible, this, but you know, if you are with somebody and then you get with somebody else, and can you imagine if they go into the same house as that person, the first thing they want to do is they want to redecorate, they want to get new furniture. Anything that was with the old person, no, that's gone. Oh, she liked pink, did she? Yeah, well, I like green, so yeah, pink's out. You know, so you know, when you get a new thing like this, mate, you know, it's easy. It's up to you, mate. I mean, you can do what you want. It's that's my own personal opinion on it. I don't know whether the people have got a different opinion.
Simple is best. From Ranty's, how about Brandon's?
That would be my choice. Yeah, I would. I'd just go straight for that, Brandon.
Just go to the pub across the street, but it's the same pub.
It's just not Ranty's, it's Brandon's. It's Brandon's, yeah. It's been newly branded.
It's been rebranded.
Yeah, it's been branded. There it is, stamped.
Rebranded.
What about when you announce a marriage? What do they put? The maiden name of the person was, you know, it might be Anderson Nee Jones, so it could be Brandon's Nee Ranties.
Oh, that's pretty funny. Yeah, well,
but yeah, so all you guys, you all know I'm still flat Earth, don't you? You understand that. It's just that,
Yeah.
For me, 5 years in this, I always said, listen, I never held anything back. Last year, you guys, I was saying it from last year. I said, I don't want to be here at the end of next year. I was saying that. I said, I can't be seeing myself doing this in another year's time or 2 years' time. I don't, this isn't for me, and I was already sort of feeling that last year. So, it's just got to that point now. This year has been a lot of personal things that have gone on, and obviously there's been a lot of other things that have gone on as well. And it's just it gets to you, and at some point you just realize, what do you want to do? What do I want to do? Do I really want to be sitting up till 2:00 in the morning making videos? Do I really want to do that when I already know the Earth is flat and I have to put more effort in to argue with people that are just going to obfuscate the point again? To me, can I cope with that?
You've reached that zen, man. I'm there now too, man. There ain't nothing I need to prove to anybody. You know what I mean?
Exactly, Cleary. You've got it.
Yeah.
You've got it. And it might come a point where Brandon gets to the same point that we're at, and he ends up passing the show on to somebody else too. It could be a triple whammy next year. Who knows?
Oh no, I'm going to treat this like the golden ring, Like what's that guy from Lord of the Rings? Yeah, my precious Golem. Thank you.
Pretty classy of you,
Brandon will be in for the long run.
That's pretty classy of you. I gotta say, I don't think anybody would have done what you did, bro. Kudos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I agree.
Well,
right, what about, can I start something new, or are we going to keep talking?
Yeah, I just want to say one last thing, actually. See we're still on this subject, is that, okay, yes, there's a new podcast out with myself and Conspiracy Cats, and I also know that Conspiracy Cats is a Glober who makes who makes content against flat earthers, right? I understand that, but we're not doing anything to do with flat Earth, and it's going to be the paranormal, the supernatural, things like that. And I'm obviously very open to that, and he's obviously more scientific. It's a very interesting dynamic, and I've, having spoken with him, he's a nice guy. He's a globe earther, right? And he makes content. But I'm a flat earther and I make content. It still doesn't mean that we can't essentially work together. If we go out and go down the pub, you get served by a globe earther, you could get served by a flat earther. You just don't know. But you don't hate the person. And yeah, I mean, I'm okay. So, like I say, he's flat earther. I'm flat earther. He's a globe earther. We're working together on this new thing, and so it's extra content for everyone. So if people like me or enjoy the content that I put out, or even the content that Conspiracy Cats puts out, it's additional content. It's supernatural, paranormal. It's not flat earth, so it's completely different. So we're not crossing over on anything in that way, and the show continues in Brandon's hands. The show continues. We've got a guest, we've got panelists, we've got people that come in. Nothing changes on the show, so there's nothing to be worried about. that's what I'm trying to say. But check out the links. It's great, I have to say.
Yeah, and I'll drop the link. I've got the video up on here. So there is a video that you guys put out to announce it. I think you both put one out, right? I'll drop that in the chat.
Yeah, I put one out, and Conspiracy Cats put one out too. So we're going to re-upload the podcasts onto YouTube in about a month's time or so. So we're going to release them onto Spotify, leave them up there for about 4 weeks. And then after 4 weeks, then we're going to release them onto YouTube as well. So if you've got Spotify and you want to listen to it there, great. If not, if you want to subscribe to us on the YouTube channel, it's me that's running it, by the way. I'm usually running the YouTube channel. So if you want to if you want to subscribe there, great. You'll see the content in 4 weeks' time, and you'll be helping me out as well. So,
Ranty.
Yeah.
Can we take it Arwin will be getting the P1000 now then?
No, Arwin is definitely not getting the P1000. It's actually on loan at the minute. I've actually sent it to the other side of the country. It's being used currently. Well, I think it is. I messaged the guy about 2 weeks ago. He hasn't got back to me yet. But I'm sure it's in safe hands. I'm sure he will get in touch with me.
Well, cool. Well, we're all looking forward to seeing or hearing the new show. And the first episode's up, you said? It's on Spotify right now?
Yep, first episode's on Spotify. And the show's actually called Almost Unbelievable. So the plan is obviously to get some guests in that have got a story to tell, whether it's something to do with a poltergeist or a ghost, or I don't know, maybe even a UFO. Maybe they think they've been abducted, by a UFO or anything strange, weird, Ouija boards, anything. You might be a secret werewolf for all we know, or you might have dreams that you're a vampire. I don't know, but whatever it is, if you've got a story to tell and you want to tell us about it, you can come on and spend 15 minutes, tell us a story, say goodbye, and me and Katz will have a quick discussion afterwards about it, and we'll decide between us whether or not we think it's believable or not believable, or somewhere in the middle, so like almost believable or almost unbelievable, and that's where we got the show name from.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, and it's 32 minutes, so you guys are they're nice and short, huh? Pop it on when you're doing a workout or
32
whatever.
minutes. That we're trying to keep it 30 to 32 minutes, 33 minutes, something like that. Not 35 minutes, right? 35 to 30 minutes, something like that. Just so that somebody can download it on the way to work, driving to work. They can put it on as they're driving away or on the way home from work, and they can just listen to a podcast. And it's pretty quick, enjoyable. You hear somebody's story firsthand, and you get to follow us on different platforms. Sometimes they might even have video footage or photographs that go with it, so they might have actually captured something or seen something. We'll have that content available for people to find as well. So yeah, why not check us out?
Cool. Yeah. Sounds pretty good, right?
That's my shilling done. I'm sorry to have taken up too much time, but yeah. Right, back to Flat Earth, I suppose.
All right. Well, thanks, Ranty. Thanks again.
No worries.
That's awesome. Hope you'll stop by every now and then.
Of course I will.
Cool. All right. Yeah, let me introduce everybody who's in the chat so that the audience know who's in here. We got Allie B.
Hello.
Bev Try Thinking.
Hello. Congratulations.
And we got some stuff to talk about with you, Bev. Definitely. We might talk about that next with your debate this afternoon. I'd love to hear about that. I caught about half of it, so we'll get to that.
That's what I wanted to discuss as well. That's what I was wanting to ask, what everybody thought about it.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Let's get through the introductions for sure. Brian Mabbott. What's up, Brian?
Good day, sir.
Cleary.
What's up, yo?
Chris Berry just popped in. What's up, Chris? Oh, you might have audio problems. F. Evangelist.
Howdy, partner.
Hey, Global Virus Foe.
Hello.
What's up? Looks like Jimbo's on mute. Kitty Soft Paws. How you doing? Left Lane. Howard. What's up, man? Merry effing Christmas. Otherwise known as MEUK, I believe.
Merry Christmas to you, Brandon.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Brandon. I like it. It's festive. Mobius.
Hey guys.
What's up? We got Patient Zero, Aaron.
Hey Ranty, Brandon, panel. What's up?
What's up? Plague Zero.
Hey Brandon.
What's up? We got a full house tonight. Rakia Life. Oh, no audio on your Rakia. Rob Keane. SE Montreal.
Good evening, fellow truth seekers.
SM Storm 11.
Hello.
Yo. And Domesticated Primate. What's going on?
Me and you right down the bottom here, as always, Brandon.
Well, you got that. You got that curly Q in the middle front of your name. Just put an A in front of
it. I'll go straight to the top then.
Yeah, there you go.
Is Ranty still on?
Yeah, he's still here. Yeah. What's up, Chris?
I just had a quick question. Ranty, who did your intro music for your new podcast?
Oh, yeah, I've got the link in the description. Actually, hang on, let me see if I can find it. I've actually accredited them with it. Hang on, just one sec. Hang on, give me a second. Right, so it's by Jason Shaw, audioorntics.com. There you go.
Okay,
the link's in the description. It's Jason Shaw on Audio Ortics.
How did you find him?
Conspiracy Cats said, he showed it me and said, do you want to have a look on here, see if you can find anything that might be good for the introductions? It's
okay.
The link is, I can send you the link if you want.
Well, no, I write music, so I was just curious how you found him and all that. So you don't know him, like he just had a bunch of stuff pre-written on the site that you found one and liked it.
Yeah, hassle-free Creative Commons music is what it says for YouTube videos and podcasts by Jason Shaw.
What, do you know him, Chris, or what?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I was just wondering how if Ranty knew him or already or how that worked, but it sounds like it's had a website.
Gotcha.
Well, if you've got some music yourself that you want us to direct us to, I can have a look, and if they're any good, I can add them into the podcast somehow.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't have anything written like that. I mean, I could, but I would just say I would just leave it. If you like it, it's fine.
Fair enough.
Well,
right.
Did that come across wrong? Or?
No, it's just a funny conversation. That's all. Anyway, so hey, Bev, how was the debate this afternoon?
Well, over the last 2 days, we've had Babs coming over. I think I was alerted to it by Emma, who read something in Gem Panda's server or something, that Babs wanted a word with us. And then he came over saying he wanted I don't know, he called it a debate, but not a debate. And we're a little confused about it. And then he came round today again to confirm that it was on and that he was taking the position. Obviously, I told you last night, didn't we, that he was going to have taking the position that level isn't horizontal. I was confused. I mean, I'd like to hear your opinions of what you think he thought. I don't know.
Well, I was trying to understand what his argument was, and it sounded like he was saying that you have to consider the plumb bob, and that horizontal is in relation to the plumb bob. It's a perpendicular, which I've always heard you talk about level and horizontal being perpendicular to a plumb bob. So I wasn't really sure what distinction he was making, and maybe somebody can clear it up for me. And maybe I wasn't paying 100% attention, but I didn't completely understand the argument or the issue he had with your argument. Do you understand the crux of it?
No, honestly, he did his initial opening thing, and he said, "I'm just going to lay my cards on the table," and then said that level is perpendicular to a plumb bob, which is vertical, and obviously perpendicular to vertical is horizontal. So he was in fact saying that level is horizontal, but then saying that level isn't horizontal. I mean, it just seemed confused.
Yeah. Does anybody else have an understanding of what the crux of his argument is? Anybody else that listened? Allie, you said you listened. What did you think? Allie? No, not there. Anybody else?
I just never realized Babs was that freaking stupid, man. Sorry, Babs, if you're out there listening. I don't know what he was thinking coming over there.
I think someone put a flea in his ear.
Kosho?
Possibly, but someone did. And he was very emotional. There was more to it. I don't understand why he got so upset.
No, I did want to say one thing. I don't think there's any problem with Babs having a disagreement and wanting to talk to Bev or anybody else about, if his opinion differs or if he has a different understanding of any subject than anybody else. That's totally what we want, right?
Yeah, bro, I second that 100%.
For a win.
What's that?
He was so desperate for a win. I've never known anybody in a non-debate who wanted to win so badly.
Yeah, he did keep saying stuff like "I crushed you" and that kind of stuff along those lines. Yeah. Maybe not those exact words, but he did seem very upset. And I'm wondering if it was because of when he came here the first or second week that I was hosting the show, and that's where some of that stuff about when you go over to the other forum, it turns into 5-on-1. So I don't know.
No, I think that he was talking about MUK. He was talking about our server, and I didn't understand because that's never happened over there, as far as I'm aware. I mean, people's perceptions
not with him either. So why is he? This is why I think it was to do with Kosho, because Kosho got butthurt.
Yeah, I'd probably go along.
Well, I guess that's neither here nor there. I was curious to see what his argument was, but I also do want to say that Babs, if you're out there, you're welcome anytime. I don't have any problem with you at all. And if you have a disagreement, you're more than welcome to bring it in here. That's what we want. We want to discuss stuff. So, it is what it is. But I just couldn't understand the argument, what it was. It sounded like he was making the same argument we've heard from other people, that only the spot where the plumb bob intersects with the level is level and everything else is not level. It sounded like the ball argument.
Yeah, somebody over there in the chat was saying that he's a Glover. The Babs is a Glover. I don't know.
Well, I heard a few people saying that, but I don't know.
That was me. The last time he was on there, I just started in Jose's chat when he was on I think a week ago or something. I just started typing it because he started insulting flat earthers. So I just started typing in, he's a baller kind of thing. He gave me a shout out tonight. He called me a dumpster or something or other.
A truck driver.
That was it, yeah. A dumpster diver. A dumpster diver.
Truck driver.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's because I was
too hard on the guy, come on.
No,
not you, Ali.
No.
The chat was laying it on him thick, so he got upset.
Yeah, but I mean that's all that's the whole point of it. Every single one of us have had our lives threatened, or our kids' lives threatened, or called all sorts of names, and we just kind of take it on the chin. We don't go about all the hangouts, all bitching about it. Such and such said this and all that. He's a big, and that's how you get targeted if you show any weakness at all. So it's his own fault. He was he was. He should be able to take it on the chin. But I didn't like the way he talks about flat earthers, how he calls us all dumb and stuff like that. I find that offensive. So, and that's why I give him such a hard time. He can call me what he likes. I just found it funny. He's one of the chat readers. That's why I do it. He
Bro, I was dying of laughter today on Jose's. I was rolling on the floor.
You should never read the chat. Ever.
Exactly.
Not exactly. Not while you're talking. Ever. That's what they do. They goat you. Big mistake, bro.
I could not understand what his position was.
No, I couldn't either. I don't know what he was. That's what I was going to ask Bev. Did you get? I mean, did you get where he was coming from? I just couldn't. And then he's shouting out a victory or something like that. I beat you, yeah, I beat you. I don't know what it was about there.
Well, obviously I've been doing this and this very same thing. Like, I've not really strayed from anything other than this. So I've researched it all, and I've heard just about every argument that can ever come from their side. And that was one of the most confusing arguments that I've ever heard. I mean, there's been people that have had, confusing, like this imaginometry that they do, where they imagine stuff. But I think he just never, he had an understanding of it, but there was literally no practical experience there that he could put to and relate to it, to anything. So it seemed like it was just the message got confused somehow. I don't know. I feel sorry for him. I'd like to be able to try and explain it in a way without him sort of going into whatever mode he was in, super defensive or something, that he can't seem to converse with each other because of it. It's very strange.
Yeah, I thought you did a good job keeping your composure, Bev, and not letting yourself get upset, because it could have been easy to respond to his emotionality with the same thing, and you didn't seem to get lose control at all. So I thought that was pretty good.
I thought it was amazing. I thought it was amazing, actually, once that debate finished, and then just listening to they were going on about this water level. If you lifted it up, and it'll be lower, and then it'll be higher.
That Lyle.
I don't think these guys. But so was Ruhif as well. You had Ruhif the other night there. There's something wrong with these, seriously, that they can't actually believe that. They can't imagine that in their heads. They can't really honestly imagine.
It's the practical experience, right? It is. It's got to be the actual practical experience of doing it. If you've never experienced the practicality of what a level does and what it gives you, then I don't think you can actually understand it. The ball model overrides all of that. But as soon as you've actually practically used one of these tools, you begin to understand what the problems are geometrically.
Yeah, I understood as soon as you started on with the water level. I thought, oh, that's genius, because that's the best way to, and it actually even says I think Ruhif said, well, it's not, he kept going on about it's not accurate over a mile. But if you go and read about what a water level does, it says it's actually more accurate over longer distances than a theodolite or an auto level. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, that's the thing with the practical experience. I think that's what gets many of us into flat Earth, is that we never experience anything but a level being flat and horizontal, and a water level being used to create a flat and horizontal. That's how we build. That's how we lay out cities. You have to think you're on a ball to think otherwise. I think it's important to frame it like that. You have to think you're on a ball to think it works otherwise. It's not the reverse, because you don't experience it in your day-to-day life. You don't use it for anything practical, how they see it working.
I think most people as well in normal life do not think of the ball. Right? That's where the trick is. There's only a very few people that actually think of the ball model, and they're the ones that we have to deal with in here. The ones that get triggered, the ones that get emotional about it. And it's strange that they do that. Like, there's grown adults that get triggered over the shape of a model. It's like a little child with a toy, and you sort of taking it off them, or you sort of saying, I'm going to take that off you in a minute, and they get into a little tizzy and a little fit. It's so strange to me.
Yeah, it is. It is can be kind of surreal. Right hand, did you listen to that debate earlier between Bev and Babs? Oh, he's not there. Anybody else have any thoughts on it?
This is Chris. I don't have any on the debate, but on that topic, I mean, I didn't listen to the debate, but basically, I have heard Bev talk about the level stuff in the past on this show and others. I actually think it's a very solid argument for flat versus round, because just to me, it's almost like even if you don't know a lot about level and this and that, it's really kind of a common sense argument, right? Because again, do you believe that level is horizontal, or do you believe that level is curved? You know, like if you have two exactly 6 foot poles on opposite ends of the planet, are they level? According to the globe, they are, but according to common sense, they aren't, because it doesn't make sense. It would have to be, they can only be level if they're horizontal. That's the way I look at it. And so, I mean, I think Bev's doing a good job of the explanations and taking it to him. Because they have to fiddle. See, when you have truth on your side, you just say it like it is, and it makes sense and it's understandable. But when you don't, you have to double speak, like the Rumpus always does. You know, he says within a matter of minutes, he'll say one thing and then say the opposite, etc. And these people that Bev debates with, the same thing. They're like, well, it's always a local thing on the globe. It's local gravity, it's local level, but on the whole, it's not local, right? So then it's not the same thing. So they have two answers no matter what you come to them with. It's local or it isn't. So it's annoying, but you know, they have to have both sides, otherwise it doesn't work in their model, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yep, exactly. The red right hand. Hey, Ranty, Brandon, why have you not mentioned the £1,000 Brandon paid for the channel? People talk my pedigree, chums. Ranty is in with conspiracy cants, and Ranty is a copper. That's a good one. Good one. The red right hand. I like that.
Was that a super chat?
No. It was just a comment.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, dear me. So when am I getting that £1,000 then?
Yeah, it's in the mail, buddy.
Yeah. About that.
Can I ask Bev? I've got a question for you, Bev. Do you know what was that discussion? Because I just kind of came in. I came in at the point you were discussing the different meanings of horizontal. What was he actually saying about that? Because I kind of came in at that, but I didn't catch it all. How did you get onto definitions?
Well,
what he was doing.
He was saying that the horizon was a circle, right? To which I said the definition of horizontal is parallel to the plane of the horizon. Well, if a horizontal is parallel to the plane of the horizon, then the horizon must be a straight line. And that's all I was pointing out, right? That within the definitions, the mathematical definitions of horizontal, that it states that it's parallel to the plane of the horizon. So the horizon cannot be a circle. You can't make a straight line into a circle, as DP rightly said the other day. You know, sometimes it's these very simple statements that are made by people that they hit the hardest.
Now, that part I did find interesting. Let's see if we can talk about that for a minute. So you guys were looking at a diagram. I'll share my screen in a minute. That was a circle with two radii from the center, right? It was something like, let me share this. Was that your diagram or was that his?
That was his.
That was his. Okay.
A blinkered guy, the one that has a guy supposedly got a view of about 5 degrees.
So it was circle. It was like this in the center. We'll call that the center, even though it's not. And then there was another one here. It was like 5 degrees, you said. We'll just put it right there.
Yeah, it wasn't very much. It was a blinkered guy.
What was his point about this?
I don't know. I literally don't know. He said that was the field of vision.
Yeah,
okay.
What I think he was getting at as well.
But I mean, that isn't your field of vision unless you're very, very blinkered. You can see way more than that.
Oh, for sure.
I'd say closer to 120 degrees.
Well, even with your peripheral vision, I would say it's. We can probably look it up. It's probably online what our field of view is. That's a good question. In fact, I'm just going to look it up real quick.
I think, guys, I think what he was talking about when he was talking about that we see in a circle. Imagine that's me in the middle. You guys are looking in top from the top, and if I spun round there, I'd be seeing 13 miles the horizon if I'd done a full circle. But that's flat. That's not a sphere. That's like a direction outwards.
We had dawn like this the other day, and the way I've heard
just a
it.
plan view.
Yeah, they're in a boat, and then you're in a boat, and you go around, and there's a piece of string in between you. Effectively, you are making a circle about a radius. I mean, that's what he's doing. I mean, you will definitely make a circle if you put a radius line from your central position and make an arc. Then that's a circle. That's how you describe a circle.
There's a few figures given here, but it's about 120. They're saying.
Is it? That was a good guess for me, then, right?
Yeah. There's another one that says it's more, that you can actually see slightly behind you, but I would say that seems pretty reasonable. 120. So if you look out in front of you,
is pegged up to a string, and you're going around in a circle. That's a centripetal motion, going around the center like of a flower, a centripetal motion.
All right.
No, it's just the center in the circle.
All right. So you got
that's it. Brandon.
Your circle center.
Sorry.
You're looking out, and we see his point was that we don't see this horizon, which would be the limit of our vision, possibly, or the limit of what we can see in the medium, as a flat line. Did he say that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he said it's a straight line. I don't know. Like, again,
it's confusing.
DP says, like, if you can imagine that and you look out and you see the horizon right out in front of you. Now, it's a straight line. Now, if you turn 5 degrees or 10 degrees, 20, doesn't really matter however far you want to turn. And what you see in front of you is a straight line. But it also has a part of the straight line that you just looked at before. And that is joined with the straight line, effectively making it the same straight line. And you can do that for a full 360 degrees.
That's what I find interesting, because you're seeing a straight line, but obviously our vision, this is how I've always thought of it, we see in a circle. The limit of our vision would be a circle, the same distance from us on all sides. But
yeah, but we don't see that circle simultaneously. You can't see what's behind you from looking in front.
That's an imaginary circle, right? That you've put that circle there.
Yep.
You've drawn this picture, just like all of these other people have, and they've gone, that is the field of my vision. Well, that isn't the case.
That 120 degrees is your field of vision, not everything behind you.
No, I'm not worried about this. Let's just even talk about this. So if I'm standing here and looking out, why is it that, because I agree, we see the horizon as a horizontal line. Why is it that I see that as a horizontal line and I don't see an arc? Now, again, I think in some pictures, it appears that the horizon is curved, but you can't identify which variable is causing that, if it's the limit of your vision, if it's the fog, if it's the particulates. So let's just throw that right out there. Let's just say, why is it that we see in a straight line like that and we don't see in a curve, as you would think?
Because you're looking across a plane.
Yeah. A plane parallel model. I mean, that's it.
What does that mean?
What you see is what you see. And then this circle is what you imagine.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
That's a good point. So this is a Euclidean. Let's call this a physical geometry model of vision, and we see in perspective. So I was wondering if there was something to do. That's just how we see in perspective, and it looks as if the horizon is a flat line.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's interesting.
Not only looks as well that, but I mean, you take the fact that we know for a fact that you can prove that the water level is horizontal, then you put yourself at the side of the ocean or whatever, and you're looking out across that water, then you see a straight horizontal line. Well, it's hardly surprising because you're looking over water, and the surface of the water is also horizontal. So there's no surprise that you are seeing a straight line. The strange thing that's happening is you're affixing that to a circle. I mean, a lot of people do it because what they will say is, if I turn around through 360 degrees, I see a straight line horizon. Well, the only circle you've done there is you turning around. Just the words that you have turned around is enough to conjure the idea of a circle or a curvature somewhere.
Let me see if I understand that correctly. So, yeah, obviously you're only seeing this 120 at one time. In order to see the whole circle, you'd have to turn around to cover all directions with the 120. But when you're looking out in one direction, such as this, you see essentially a flat line like this. Let me just put it on here so we know what I'm talking about. And you don't see what we imagine would be the physical limit of our vision, which is based on physical geometry. We see a flat horizon.
Yes. Now, what you could do is, and I think this is what he did with he drew a Dornagon, as we're calling them, because this is imaginometry now. Because what you've got to imagine is you're drawing a plan view of this, and you've drawn a circle. Now you're imagining that as your horizontal, just like he did, but that's not. That's like a line that's blocking where you're looking, isn't it? Because it's a plan view, and that view there is supposedly a horizontal view outwards. So yeah, you're going to get stuck here now, because if you turn, like we said, if you turn 90 degrees or say 70 degrees or something like that, then that straight line that you've got there as your view would be half of it would be shared with the next view. So as you do that, you're always seeing a straight line.
But my question is, why don't we see this edge? Like, well, as we turn around, we see a curved horizon. Why is it flat? Why is it a horizontal line?
Plane parallel.
What does that mean?
We're looking across a plane.
You're looking across a plane.
Parallel with what's forming the plane, which is the surface of the water.
Yeah, the water is forming its own plane at your feet, and your eyes are looking out, forming a plane at your eye level that is parallel to the other.
And you're looking into the vanishing point between the plane of the sky and the plane of the sea. So that horizon is actually indefinite.
Yeah, right. You're just seeing everything come together, and yeah, I understand that. Okay. Yeah, there's still something about this that kind of itches my brain a little bit. But
do you want to know? Do you want to know what it is? I think this is the problem, right? Is that whenever you look out, everything converges at, they call it, at the horizon. Right, all horizontals are parallel to the horizon. But what you see is, because you walk around at that level most of the time, that it's always parallel with your view. So why, if perspective works like that at the horizontal level, why doesn't it do that when you look in a different direction? Like if you look a little bit up, Why does everything not converge to that point that you're looking at, your new focal point? Why does everything still converge at the horizon?
That's an excellent question. What's the answer?
Pressure, I think. It's the zero pressure state.
You think there is something unique about where that convergence takes place? The same effect doesn't happen. Let's say if I look up at the stars, there's not a convergence point. I always thought it was the fact that you had this plane underneath you that extended much beyond your ability to make anything of any detail out. And
not only that plane that converges at that point, is it? It's not only the plane underneath you that converges at the point you're talking about.
right, exactly. So you've got that plane underneath you up there converging with the sky, creating this horizon, an apparent conversion between the sky and the ground. When you look up in the sky, you don't have that plane. You've just got open space, but some of those effects of perspective are still there, such as objects in the distance converging. Like if you had railroad tracks that just extended out to, 100 million miles away, you would see those converge, right? You would still that effect would still be there, but you don't see a convergence point up in the sky or out when looking out into space because you don't have that plane right there. You don't have that physical object right there to create a horizon.
So nothing's forcing that convergence, that convergence point of the horizon.
Exactly. But yeah, maybe there is something else such as pressure. I've never heard that before, Beth. What makes you think it might be pressure that creates that? Because that is interesting.
What water has a zero pressure state. Obviously the next point we were at, it's like the water level does horizontally. It is horizontal, right? It establishes its own equilibrium. It's like, well, why? Why does it do that? Well, turns out that everybody knows that under the water, the more depth you go to, there is a greater pressure. Well, it turns out that if you invert water and make a siphon, the water goes in an upward direction. And when the water is in that state above the body of water trying to find its own equilibrium, it's in a negative pressure state. So the water has a positive pressure and a negative pressure, and it's the zero pressure state that defines the equilibrium of that body of water. So, yeah, I think it's just that everything's based around that zero pressure state where the water finds its equilibrium.
Okay.
Which we're still testing at the minute, but I mean,
sure. Okay, well, yeah, that's an interesting subject, and I definitely picked up on that during the debate that there was something of substance to that piece of the discussion between you and Babs when it came to this, that at least I didn't understand fully. But the thing I always try to remember is when you're talking about this kind of stuff and you're talking about vision and the way that we see, that is not Euclidean geometry, because you have to take perspective into effect. It's not the same thing. Yeah.
And what you see will not affect the actual geometry of whatever is, right? The fact that train lines look like they're converging doesn't mean that train lines are converging.
Exactly. That's where we get all this confusion from, as we know. Perspective hijacking.
Just like the mountain isn't sinking into the ground, it just looks like it is.
Yep, exactly. And they've taken that perspective effect and called that Earth curve.
Well, I don't think it is that it's that perspective effect. I think what it is as everything in the distance converges, because it does, it like we were showing Ruhif last night with the stadia hairs on an optical device, everything converges towards that horizon line, not the horizontal, or shorter distances it is the horizontal, but everything converges. Now at that point, miles away in the distance, I mean, to your optical view, it could be a slither, a centimeter, millimeter off in the distance. But if you think about what has actually happened, all of that view that you had of the sky that's above you could be thousands of miles up, and the ground underneath you, all of that has converged into a finite point. Well, that finite point contains all of the air, all of the little bugs and everything, all of the clouds, all compressed into a tiny little layer. And at that layer, you could say that there is an overbearing of water, moisture in the air, vapor, to call it whatever you want. But that very fact causes a density. There's something that happens within that air and the temperature, obviously, and the differing whatever. But that's what causes the sinking or stuff disappearing into that. And you only need a fraction of a degree and a lot more distance to make stuff disappear into the horizon.
Okay, so right? I think here is a fundamental difference in our understandings, because I think they hijacked perspective. You do not think they hijacked perspective, from what I just heard. You think that it is actually a function of sinking, which we've talked about a lot on this show, especially Ranty talked quite a bit about it, that is actually causing things to appear as if they are lower than they are.
Well, and magnification as well. I mean, there's so many weird things that actually go on when you look out over there. I mean, when I first got the P1000 and we started looking at it's like we had to look at it as though it's that place where some weird shit happens. Because it seemed like every time you got the camera out and looked, you'd see something new.
Oh, yeah.
And it is crazy the amount of things that happen. Some things turn upside down. Some things look massive. Some things disappear. You can never tell what's going to happen.
Yeah, that I totally agree with.
One day to the next.
It sounds like a lot of optical activity, and it sounds a lot like water vapor and temperature seem to be having a lot to do with stuff. Not that I'd mentioned it before.
Oh, that's the first time I've ever heard that, Jimbo.
Taking these words, optical activity. Pure air is optically pure. Anything involved in the air after its purity makes it change. It makes the air an optically active substance. And that's what we're seeing with all these enlargements, magnifications, loomings, all the bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not refraction. Very rarely is refraction involved. But carry on. You're on the right path.
Yeah, I think there's more than. I think actually we're maybe talking about different effects, and both may be happening. The perspective hijacking and this. I mean, we know this is happening for sure. The optical effects, but they definitely do conflate orthographic view and perspective view. Like this picture that I've got on my screen. It's kind of what you were talking about. Here you've got 10 miles. Within this red band, you've got 10 miles here, you've got 10 miles here, and it's getting shorter each time, half the distance, roughly. By the time you get to that horizon, it's just like a hair's width is the same distance as this big one down here. So you've got so much happening in such a little visual space right here that any little change as it goes that great distance, any little change is going to greatly impact what you see at that distance, be it water vapor, refraction, whatever you want to say it is, atmospherics, whatever.
and it's more pronounced when you look at. You can see the ground there, and that's coming up. But think about the sky and how much of the sky is compressing. The sky is compressing into that just as much, or even more. So you think about the amount of air that gets compressed into that horizon layer at that distance, when all of the ground's compressed to that point and all of the sky does exactly the same thing. So you think about how much air you're looking through. I mean, they do say that at ground level, the horizon's it's like defined a lot more. I mean, obviously sometimes it looks fuzzy like Ruhif did the other day. But as you go up in a plane, that horizon will become less and less defined. It'll turn into a smudge.
Yeah, that's a great point about the sky, because you think about the same thing that's happening down here on the ground happening up here in the sky. This white layer, above the ground here, is just atmosphere condensed. It's all the particulates, the water vapor in the atmosphere condensed. So each hair is, 10 miles of atmosphere or more right in here. At some point, you're not going to be able to see through that. It's so much material packed into so little variable space. Why would you expect to be able to see through that, given how our vision works? Just given how optics work, period. I don't even think your vision matters, because at some point, it doesn't matter what kind of telescope you have, you're not going to be able to see through all this.
All the bits of dust, bit of sand just flicked up by a thing. You've got to look through all of that. There's no way, there's nothing clean enough, is there?
Outside of the stars, what's the furthest a human has been confirmed to observe an object in terms of distance, right? Because they'll be like, oh, well, you can see the stars a million. Okay, well, forget other stars. Like with an actual confirmation, how far can we see? A mountain that's what, 300 miles away, 400 miles away?
Yeah, that Canagoo photo.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one so far, isn't it?
A couple hundred miles, right? And that's how high was that guy? So yeah, to think that you would be able, from ground level, to think you would see more than 10 miles is, you just can't see forever. That's been confirmed.
Yeah, exactly. And even in this case, you're just seeing the silhouette. Like you said, he's up pretty high. His observation altitude is up pretty high. I can't find it right now, but it's just the silhouette of the mountains all he sees. In fact, I think here it is.
Right? Wouldn't you not be able to see any further on a ball as you got higher? Like that's a flat plane. Like that's a horizontal plane thing, because the ball is curving away. So if you get to a certain point, you can't see what's on the other side of the curve.
It should get lower and lower and lower the higher you go. The horizon should just drop. Should keep dropping.
Well, let's say I'm over here,
and it should shrink in.
And I'm looking
from east to west. It should shrink in.
I'm looking down here, right? Let's say I'm up here. I'm looking down here. The same thing's going to happen in regards to the atmosphere on a ball. I'm going to be looking down. I'm going to be looking through a huge amount of atmosphere. The longer I look, right? You still have to look through all those particulates. You still have to look through that dense part of the atmosphere, and your eyesight and optics still work the same way. Everything's still going to condense into a very small visual space the further away it is. And that doesn't change.
Is that red bar, is that supposed to be where a person would see the horizon if they were on the floor?
Oh, this right here? Yeah, this would be like the person would be in the middle here. This is I just modeled this after what they looked at in Jose's or in the debate today.
I mean, come on, that's about as clear cut as it gets, right?
Anyway, and here, this line I'm talking about here this is the Earth. You're standing up here. Let's say you're looking down at high altitude. You're still looking through all that shit. You don't get away from that. Anyway. Okay, well, yeah, good debate, Bev. And Babs, you're welcome anytime to stop on in and clarify anything that happened in that discussion. I think that there's a lot of people who just didn't completely understand what your argument is or the distinction you made. I don't know if that's our fault or if it was
you got to say he lost the debate then, right? If everybody listening couldn't even recite what stance you took, I don't think you could say you won that debate.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that, to be honest. But I'd love to understand where he was coming from. Because I'm always looking for a new way to think about things. Let me see here. What do we want to look at?
I don't know how you can twist horizontal and verticals any other way, right? Like it has to work on a grid system, like when you view it from the side. It has to, or else it's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, right. So I think Smurfer Girl Whatevs is going to come in shortly. I know she had some stuff she had to take care of before she joined and talk about Foucault's pendulum or possibly have a video. Let me see. I got a message for her. Let's join live. Oh, cool. She's going to join live. So she should be in here shortly. And she wants to talk about Foucault.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We did that the other night, didn't we?
Yeah,
Did she hear that when we were talking?
Yeah, she was listening to that. I think that what's prompted her to want to come in and share what she's been thinking about in regards to the swinging pendulums.
And Rumpus said he was going to pop in as well to do a quick 2-minute presentation on what I don't understand about stuff. I said he'd be welcome to come and do it over here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if he wants to pop in.
If Rumpus can wrap up if he can wrap up what anyone doesn't understand in 2 minutes, I'll give him $10.
I'm not taking the other side of that bet.
Give Brandon the money, yeah?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, super chat it. Yeah, Brandon got super chat it.
Let me bring this up while we're waiting, unless anybody has a topic that they want to discuss, but I don't know if you guys have caught on to this, but Flat Earth Fokker was arrested. I've been trying to get him on the show. I'll have to bug him again to see if he'll come on. He was refusing to self-isolate upon returning from the Flat Earth Conference. And they actually arrested him up in Canada, I believe he lives. So I don't know how long he went into jail, but I've seen him on a couple of shows. Pretty interesting that he actually got thrown in jail. So I just wanted to bring this up and say kudos to him for standing up for what he believes, one, and taking it so far that he actually got arrested, because not too many people stick to their guns and take things that far. Whether you agree with him or not, he is standing up for what he believes. I do happen to agree with him.
What are you going to do? If they tell you do this or you get arrested, and that this is something that you're morally opposed to, you don't really have a choice, I feel like, in that option.
Yep.
How, can you hear me?
Barely. You're a little low, Allie.
How about now?
A little better. I'll turn you up over here. Go ahead.
All right. I forgot what I was going.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Sorry, guy. It was. What was that about? What
We're talking about standing up for what your morals and what you believe in, and
that's right, that's
going to jail for it.
Yeah, they laugh about, but of course.
Oh, you're cutting out completely now, Allie. You might have to drop out and come back in.
How's that? Is that better?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Yeah, much better.
All right. Yeah, I was just that. Oh no, it was something to do with that chat. Something to do. It doesn't matter. It'll come back to me. Must have been a lie or something.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Okay, let me read a piece of this. So this says, despite being reminded of the federal legislation that requires travelers to self-isolate under the Quarantine Act and receiving a violation ticket, Makhan Singh Pahar, I guess that's his real name, refused to comply and continued leaving his residence. On November, whatever, the police arrested him. And they're saying it was for safety. He was supposed to stay in his house for 14 days. Whether or not you have symptoms.
This is Canada?
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is Canada.
I just remembered what it was, guys. Sorry, I just remembered what it was. That I don't know if you've heard that some companies are talking about, to be employed, you'll have to get a vaccination. I think they were talking about in America. Now they're talking about it in Britain. And they're looking at the human rights aspect of it at the moment. That's what's going to come in, guys. What they've done is they've just totally destroyed all like the small businesses, and it'll be financially restrictive for them to put in, design their shop in a kind of way that they can afford it. All the bigger companies, what do you call it? They'll enforce that. They'll enforce that because they're all the same company, really. All the pharmaceuticals and all these businesses.
This is wealth redistribution.
They're going to enforce exactly. They're going to enforce this because you wait to see the unemployment figures next year. How many people are unemployed? That's going to be, and then so you'll have like I talked about it. You'll have about 1,000 people applying for one job.
Yeah,
this is why they're saying that they might talk universal basic income, right? That's where this could
they've
be
got
leading.
that now. I think they've named that. I think actually they've named that in Britain. That's what
they have a program in Canada of that. Debt forgiveness, they're calling it, guys.
Right,
apparently
they've got that in Britain as well.
They will
Sorry,
forgive any debt you have. Sorry, Ali. That's a good point you had, Ali. Very good point, bro. I agree with you 100%. They're calling it the debt forgiveness program, and they'll forgive your debt. They'll pay off your car, your house, whatever. There's only one catch to it. You have to get vaccinated.
Well, that's how it's going to be done. It's not going to be enforced by the governments because I don't think they can do it. There'll be so many legal fights against it. I mean, if they want to do it, they'll do it. Don't get me wrong. But what happened to my body, my choice and all that stuff? They're kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth here, these same people, obviously.
They're giving you the choice. You have the choice that if you want your debts, you want the free house, take the vaccine. If you want the universal basic income, take the vaccine. It's a choice. They'll throw money at you, right? And you know how many people will do it.
They're doing it by money, bro. Yeah, very well said. Instead of forcing it, they're paying it off.
What I was going to make, my point was, I think the corporations are going to be the ones who actually drop the hammer on everybody.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're already running the show.
Yeah, they'll say you have to get a vaccine to be employed, right? And if there's then this is the thing: if there's only Walmart to work for, if there's only Amazon to work for, and those companies require vaccines, then if you want to work and provide, you're either going to do something illegal, or you're going to get your vaccine and go into those stores.
It's a bit strange. It's a bit strange that they're really pushing this heavy.
Or you could have a war.
I've not seen anything. I've not seen anything like it, and since I got into the conspiracy, I always knew that they usually do it quite slow, but I mean they're changing.
End times, man. It's the end times.
It's crazy, isn't it? It really is. It's the weirdest times, but they seem to be pushing this because they're ignoring all the experts, all the World Health Organization guidelines. You just have to go and look at them. They say no lockdowns, no masks, no track or trace because it doesn't work, and all that kind of stuff. But these governments, every single government from France, Belgium, all these governments, Germany, Italy, Spain, they're all pushing this to kind of pushing us towards.
Yeah, because they're all the same. Yeah, because it's not about health. It's not about experts. It's about a government agenda. That's all it is.
Well, it's bigger than a government agenda. They're just doing what they're told. They're ignoring experts.
Well, a world government agenda, man. Sorry.
Yeah,
bro. With the need for a vaccine, right? Because they know we're not going to take it. They know you would die before you take a vaccine. Well, I'm speaking for myself, but they know it's a very strong issue with everybody, so that's what they'll use. right? And then they'll once you have that, that's almost complete control, right? And the vaccine might even have some kind of thing in it that makes you complacent, right? Or even metals that let them control you wirelessly. Who knows?
Nanotechnology, bro. Yeah.
Nanotechnology.
Very scary stuff.
You wouldn't even know. Imagine you don't even know. You're thinking, but it's not even your fucking thoughts because there's these fucking bots in you that are doing Wi-Fi signals, right? And just
transmitting shit. Yeah.
Yeah, scrambling your brain, man. It's fucking nuts.
The technology is there right now.
Quantum foam? Have you guys heard of quantum foam?
Quantum foam, yes. That's what they replace the ether with, no?
No. This is to do what you were talking about there. What it is right because they had trouble, like these nanobots. These nanobots they had problem transporting it into the blood. So what they did is they created it. It's like a foam thing. Now listen, this is the freaky thing about it. It goes to the specific part of your brain, and the machine actually self-assembles on site. So this quantum foam, it carries these tiny little parts to the part of your brain. This is not conspiracy, by the way. You have to look a wee bit for it, but it's out there.
Quantum foam, what a name they chose, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's to do with because it had to be water or something like that because they were having trouble getting into the bloodstream and getting into the capillaries and stuff like that.
So a quantum foam injection? What is it called again?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it goes to the part of your brain or the part of the body, and it self-assembles. It makes this little, and it starts interacting with your brain. Crazy
bro, come on.
man.
You can't make a bro. There's got to be something else going on, right? Like there's no you can't make a robot that small, right? Like they want you're getting like something else, man. Like this is where I think it's just like it's a download, right? Like it's just straight code. It's just straight information. They're just putting information into you.
How many?
You've never heard
them talk about graphics cards and how many billions or trillions of transistors are in them. It actually seems fairly reasonable that they could make a robot that small or close to that small.
Or just on the same lines, right? I've heard stories. My grandma told me a story. She had fillings. Back in the day, they were lead or whatever. And she said she could hear the radio. Now, my grandma wouldn't lie to me. This is before conspiracies, all this shit, right?
It's
She could
100%
hear.
normal, and that's not the only story about people hearing radio from their fillings. It's been going on for generations.
Yeah,
I've heard that many times, Aaron. Yeah.
All my life. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I'm getting at. It doesn't have to be a robot. As long as you hear the voice in your head, It's not like a robot from the vaccination is going to control our arms.
Thing called nanobots and nanotechnology.
As long as maybe we can be receiving signals, thoughts, right? Somebody talking to us in our head beside me, right? How scary is that?
Yeah, well, that's why I always randomly in my head say crazy things like every 56 minutes. So that if my brain ever gets taken over, I'll know.
Just to keep you sane.
Even a simple RDF chip, right? It doesn't have to be a nanobot. Even a simple RDF chip, the one that could read, they can see where you are at all times, keep track of you. They can start off with that slowly. It doesn't have to be, full-fledged. Yeah.
If it's really hot out and my balls, could I tell where on Earth I am?
Yep.
Only if
wow.
let's
not continue.
Only
this
if you swing him back and forth, bro.
Like Big Blue's got a video out with his Cavendish experiment. Apparently, he's the only guy in the world. He's the first man in the world to replicate that Cavendish experiment because nobody else seems to be able to do it.
Has anybody been following that? Big Blue's Cavendish experiment
No,
stuff?
I haven't even looked, but he was talking about.
Yeah, I haven't checked it out in a long time either. I did originally donate $5 to him because I wanted the drawings, and he sent it back to me because he got pissed off at me.
He came out,
a
week ago?
A month ago. There hasn't been anything.
Yeah, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago with a post. just a text post, talking about the experiment and all the problems he's having. And yeah, and he said he's going to keep after it and just keep refining it to make sure that there's no outside factors, because he's finding, like Chris Berry says, all these other factors that are affecting his instrument.
Bro, he's becoming Cavendish. He's gonna spend his whole life and never get there. We're gonna be talking about him in 50 years.
It is kind of ridiculous, right? He's gonna weigh the earth in his shed with his balls.
What exactly is ridiculous?
The whole concept of the Cavendish experiment is ridiculous, in my opinion, Howard.
Bro, just look at the video. He's got 2x4s. He's got like dowels, bro, and you're just like.
Look at all the craftsmanship and work that he put into that. Can anyone recognize that as an accomplishment?
Oh yeah, that's awesome. He's a good woodworker.
It is great, and it's fine. It's not just craftsmanship; it's fine craftsmanship, right? And
it's like
shout out to people with skill.
All that fine craftsmanship on such a piece of shit, right? Like it's such a, like you take a diamond ring, you got this nice diamond, and then you put it in like a fucking anal bead. It's like, why are you doing that, man?
Jesus, right there.
Man, you got some good analogies today. I like it.
Awesome.
Yeah, he could have built a boat, man. He could have built like a full-scale working model.
That's what I was thinking, bro.
He could have restored a car.
He'll sort of go down in history with that. He's going to donate it either to like the Smithsonian or a university, and they'll actually be using that every semester, I guess. And it'll have his name on it, and he'll go down in history with that.
Come on, you're telling me that Harvard University can't build a better one than they're waiting for blue marbles? This is what
some dude in his garage.
Replica.
Bro, he's got to, before he builds the Cavendish, he needs to build a shed to do it in, to really get, to the roots.
No, the shed was just a building to have it in, is all.
Oh, it was all specially designed. The shed, they had holes for telescopes and braces for the contraption and all this crap.
Yep. You ever see they used to have those
isolation
old,
from every element, right? Isolation somehow in a shed, right?
Somehow, yeah.
They would sell like blueprints for a plane, right? Like in the magazine for like $50 for a flying machine. Like the blueprints. Like I think Cavendish is just like these bullshit blueprints for some garbage machine that you can never get working, right? So you just it's a magic, It's just this.
Have you seen the one where the
I'm
guy
watching
sawed it in half?
I'm watching him.
No, he sawed it in half. They have this one, and the professor sawed it in half because he couldn't get it to work, and they show it like sawed in half.
No,
Left lane. All of our laughter is not at Blue himself. It's just the idea, not at the man. Just the idea.
No, I'm thinking he's doing like a comedy series here, right? This is like a 6-part comedy show to me.
Well, the thing is, I was thinking about it today, and it's like spending all this time to finally craft like a 3-card Monty set, or like replicating a magic trick from 1783 that Houdini did. It doesn't prove anything. It's just a joke. It's I don't know. I guess you have to buy into it to appreciate the idea of what he's doing, but
Well, and also, Brandon, like on that note, what you just said is like, is Cavendish the ultimate and final way to ever get balls to attract balls, or could there be a better way? So Blue is following the exact same layout, specs, diagrams, all that shit, right? What Cavendish did, but couldn't there be an improvement to Cavendish from 1780, whatever?
Well, they've done it many times in different ways, Aaron. They've done it with mercury. They've done it with this. They've done it with that. I mean, it's been replicated with all kinds of different materials over and over again. It's just the whole concept of it, that you can use some contraption that's going to fit in your shed to weigh the earth, is totally ludicrous.
Bro, he paid $400 for 2 lead balls.
Yeah.
Wow.
If I could build a Cavendish experiment, I'd do it in a nanosecond. But unfortunately, we lost the technology, and it's a painful process to rebuild it.
Until
Destroyed. We didn't lose it. We destroyed it.
Yeah, we would get those bad boys to deviate in a nanosecond if we could. All right.
The Cavendish device, a machine barely alive. We can rebuild it. Stronger, faster, like $6 Million Man. Anyway.
What if I built a thing, right? Like I built a frame of wood, like I sanded the wood, right? Then I hung 2 balls from either side and showed that they didn't attract each other. Would I prove that mass doesn't attract mass?
No, you did it wrong, man.
There must
See,
be a
and this is
one-ball Cavendish device.
this is how you know they started with their premise already being proven.
Chris, if you did that, I mean, that would be an amazing. I mean, yeah, no, that would be a great thing for you to build an apparatus that would disprove what we understand as gravity.
But again, wouldn't you just be like, I did it wrong? Yeah, because I'll do this. I got wood and fucking string, and I got a spare room. You know, this will take me 15 minutes. I don't need to spend $700 on lead balls.
2 strings and I don't know, maybe 2 Twinkies.
Leftland, it's hard to disprove what you understand as real, right?
No, science is evolving all the time. It's changing.
Okay, but you only understand a reading or a writing, right? I've never been shown a Cavendish in anywhere I've been, or anything close to it, right? Or a pendulum, or but there's writings. I've read them all, just like you. That creates an understanding in my mind. So it's hard to disprove an understanding when you read something and then ask Chris or SE or Ranty to disprove my understanding. Well, you read it, man. I mean, it's already implanted. It's already there. So.
Well, you guys might laugh. You guys might laugh, but they measured the circumference of the Earth with sticks. So I don't know what your problems with
both Bob and George. Yes, and they brag about it.
Bro, so if I hang 2 things from a string, from 2 strings, and they don't move closer to each other, if I do this right now, like I'm getting my string, I'm gonna get a screw, we're gonna get this all set. You'll be like, okay, mass doesn't attract mass. I see it not attracting. Will I convince you?
Probably. I'm dead. I'm gullible though.
I got 2. We're gonna use 2 golf balls. Okay.
That's a great question though. How would we disprove this Cavendish-Newton idea of gravity, mass attracting mass? How would we disprove that? How could we falsify that possibly in your mind, Howard?
I have no idea. But to do that, what you're talking about is the direction that you should go if you want to make ground.
Okay, I'm going to do it. Give me 10 minutes. We'll set this up.
See, Howard, I think this is where the line is drawn between our thinkings. The claim from the globe Earth is that it already exists, right? Mass attracts mass, right? Even though I've never seen a demonstration of it live, or something that can give me a 5 cents understanding. I've read about it. Okay, I can read about it, sure, but so if that claim is already out there, it's why do we need to disprove mass attracting mass when I've never ever seen it? Neither of you. You've just read about it.
Well, it's mainstream science. It's the explanation for gravity.
mainstream science says a lot of stuff. And what do you mean the explanation for gravity?
Well, that's what gravity is, mass attracting mass.
Okay.
Well, no, see, that's right there. You say Cavendish supports mass attracting mass. That's the problem I have. It doesn't. You didn't experimentally prove that mass attracts mass with Cavendish. That's why it's ridiculous. It's almost as ridiculous as saying that it weighed the Earth.
But what? Well, let's see. That brings up like two questions. It wasn't weighing the Earth. It was, he saw the interaction, the attraction between these two masses of this weight, and he extrapolated that data to the size of the Earth and basically scaled it up and calculated the mass of Earth.
Yes, as a calculation, correct. But you do know what the title of his write-up was, Howard.
Yeah, it was to do with weighing the Earth, so to speak. But Earth doesn't have a weight; it's floating in space. There you go.
Floating.
Sorry.
Yeah.
How much would the Earth weigh on the moon?
Oh hell if I know.
How much would you weigh? How much would you weigh if the Earth was on the moon?
It's relative.
No, wait a minute.
It's all relative.
Well, wait a minute.
Wait,
He said,
hold on. Are you guys are ignoring the fact that he just contradicted practically everybody on Jose's channel? Okay, listen. He just said that Earth is floating in space. Okay, Howard.
How
Howard.
would you describe it?
Hold
How
on.
would you describe the model? How would you describe it?
Hold on. In order for something to be floating, it has to be in a medium.
Not necessarily.
Okay, where do you know of anything? Listen, where do you know of anything that floats that is not in a medium?
Planets, stuff like that.
Okay. It was even said on Jose's show today that nothing is floating in space. It's orbital mechanics. That's not floating.
Oh, well, I mean, if you want to get down to the real science and nitty gritty, colloquially, to me, yeah, I mean, it's not anything wrong with saying, that planet Earth kind of floats in space. I mean, that's not a big deal. But
yeah, but if
I mean,
we were to have said that, if we go on Jose's tomorrow and say, hey, so explain to me how the Earth is floating in space, we would get ridiculed and laughed at.
I wouldn't laugh at you for saying that.
My missus goes mad at me whenever I say floating, and she's not even that bothered about it. I mean, even she knows it can't float.
Okay, so we're going to pick the fact that I said Earth is floating in space and make a deal out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know. How about if you take a fabric, mix it with time and bend it, and make it work like that? How about that?
That's inspirational, SE.
Well, let's get back to.
Why, thank you, Ali.
I think that's
elasticy like a lycra.
I think that's a fair criticism by Howard that we're kind of picking on his use of the word floating, but I do agree that we get jumped on for floating. But in regards to this Cavendish experiment, why do you think that this proves that mass attracts mass? Why do you think this is experimental evidence for that, Howard? Because the balls came together?
Yeah, when you move the big balls in proximity of the little balls, the little balls are moved towards the big balls.
Do you know what the force
you move
is?
the big balls away, they return.
All right.
Do you know what the quantification of the force is that these, how powerful it is, like in terms of weight, this force was that he measured, supposedly?
Oh yeah, it's minute. It's like micronewtons.
Yeah, it's extremely small. It's about the weight of a third a grain of salt. So he measured a force that's a third of a grain of salt, and then told everybody that he knew how much the Earth weighs. That sounds like something a homeless crackhead would say to you outside of a baseball stadium or something.
Well, I mean, at least he did take a crack at it.
Yeah, we'll give him that. At least he was doing something.
He had
Thank God I was muted on that one. I laughed so hard I almost broke my microphone. Sorry, guys.
I'm just saying. I mean, come on, man. 1/50 millionth of the weight of this ball, and he never isolated the variable that was causing the balls to move. He already assumed when he started this that mass attracted mass and that Newton's universal law of gravitation was correct. He assumed those.
Yeah.
He didn't substantiate those.
Well, I mean, but when you've got established science, you know, I mean, it's like what they call standing on the shoulders of giants. You're allowed to use those established facts and make progress.
Hold on, I got a rebuttal to that. Hold on. So when was that established then? That mass attract mass and that universal law of gravitation is correct for celestial objects?
I can't even go into that, Brandon. I really don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, I do suggest, Howard, that you look into that, because as far as I know, the only other evidence that's ever been put forward previous to Cavendish is the Shanahan. I can't even pronounce the name. Essentially, they measured the deviation of a what is it? A bob. What are they called? Plumb bob.
Plumb bob.
A plumb bob of some type towards a huge mountain. And then said, well, it's deviating towards this mountain because mass attracts mass. Bingo, bango, mass attracts mass.
Right. Yeah, I have heard it said that Cavendish knew mass attracted mass, and that's why he actually designed this experiment around that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it was an assumption. But anyway, that's why I think it's ridiculous. And just the idea that you can take a measurement of anything that's equivalent to 1/3 of a grain of sand, micronewtons, and then extrapolate that and say, hey, we have measured the force that orders the heavens and everything in the entire known existence. That seems a little bit ludicrous to me, especially when you never isolate a variable that is your cause.
Well, the Cavendish took great pains in isolating any confounding variables, you know, like the wind or vibration or anything like that. I mean, he took great pains in isolating things.
No, he never isolated the independent variable that was the cause. What he did was he ruled out some variables that may have impacted him. He was never able to isolate the variable that caused the oscillation in the balls. He just said, well, it's not magnetism. It's not my the string that I'm using. It's not temperature changes, even though he never really completely ruled out that temperature was impacting his experiment. There was lots of stuff that still could be impacting it.
Sure, he never changed the shape of his mass, right? They have to use spheres. Change it to a triangle,
what's
or
going on?
Or a lead bar, right? Why not two lead bars attract each other? It's mass.
Well, you don't.
Mass, right?
It's a matter of efficiency and equipotential, and the sphere is the most efficient way to use what you're doing there.
Why would you say that?
So I hung these two balls here. They're just hanging there. They're not getting. They stop moving. So what do we do now? Do we prove mass doesn't attract mass?
Yeah.
Mic check. Brandon, mic check.
Oh, hey, Matrix. Gotcha, man. You sound good.
All right, thank you.
There they are. Bro, they're not moving. They're just sitting right there. They're not pulling in towards each other.
Even if we hypothetically agree that mass attracted mass, that still doesn't prove that things pull to the center of mass, and or that the Earth is a sphere.
No, none of that proves that Earth's a sphere. And another one of the big assumptions that he had was that the force that causes, or whatever causes objects to fall to the ground to order themselves on the face of the Earth, can be translated into this sideways vector force that attracts things, that those two are the same. I would challenge that had never been established either experimentally, that those two are the same, that you can just use all the same mathematics for objects falling to the earth, and you can use that sideways and then say mass attracts mass. This is wizardry.
How does that even logically follow? Like, how do they make that conclusion that they could just assume that because they assume mass attracts mass, that things pull to the center, causing the Earth to be a globe? I don't understand. How does that logically follow unless you infer it?
Exactly, and why wouldn't you use the same size balls on your rotation as your static balls, right? If mass attracts mass, why do you use smaller balls on whichever part of your apparatus and bigger balls on the other one? If mass attracts mass, why change the size of the balls?
Anybody has any contention with mass attracting mass?
I would think it would be a matter of inertia and being able to get a result. Two great big balls are probably going to be a little bit difficult to get a reading out of.
Well, this is part of the scientific method that needs to be questioned. How much of the experiment are you going to duplicate? Because ideally, you'd think that they tried to make a vacuum tube, put a rock in there, see if it can float in orbit, and see if it can attract water to it, to fully duplicate the conditions. But if you're already, trying to prove gravity, you're only going to prove part and say, well, I just need to show that these balls are kind of drifting toward each other a little bit, and that'll suffice. But is it enough to just have part of the experiment, the whole experiment in total, with like the vacuum and everything, or just part of it? That's part of the scientific design of the experiment, if any, that needs to be investigated.
When flat earthers say gravity, all right, what is it exactly that we mean? What is the common consensus in a flat earth universe?
Stuff tending to fall down as opposed to up sometimes, I guess.
I have no need for it.
All right, I think we can all agree to say that
orientation,
gravity, to say that things go down, right? Things fall down.
Why can't you say things go down?
They say gravity
What's wrong?
Okay.
What's wrong with things go down?
Grounded.
Because
Yeah.
obviously,
Why do you need to make another word?
There's obviously something attracting us to whatever the land of terra firma. There's something that's keeping our feet here. We could call it gravity, but that doesn't. I mean, unless you're floating, in the sky or flying something, your feet are stuck on terra firma, right?
This came from a paradigm in which you had pulling or pushing forces, and so it may need an update in that there are other forces that could be manifest. Like you can vibrate in place without a push or a pull.
Keeping us on the ground, that's not necessarily true. It could just be that that's how it is. That is the state of things,
Bob,
they're on the ground, and you can adjust that state, but it
Bob.
returns to that state.
All right,
Where
it
did
could
you
be
come
that
from?
that's how it
Exactly.
is, but
Where
you
did
could also
come from, and you return to that state. Everything does that. Wherever you come from, you always go back.
However we used to describe it, it doesn't matter. The fact is still the same. We seem to be stuck on this thing. But regardless of however you want to use whatever definition,
It matters because their
conclude that
description
the
of
Earth is a
gravity
sphere.
is magic.
What's that, Bob? You
And
guys,
not only
are
that,
kind of talking over the end
I
of each
said it
other's
matters because their description of gravity is magic.
Only when they
That's why it matters.
insert the part about the things pulling to the center of mass, and
They
they
insert that, though.
because of
That's
it.
part of gravity for them.
Matrix, you're bringing up baller arguments. What I would like to say to add on to Bob's is like, where you come from, you will go back. And the reason why for that is because new things will be formed from where you came from, right? Always at the ground level. And so when they're talking about up, down, orientation, left, whatever, it's all about where you come from or things come from. They will always go back down, create new things that come back up, trees, whatever, plants, nature, gases, us, people, okay? But you always go back down to rest. That's it.
It's the cycle
You
of
don't
life.
need
Hakuna Matata.
So we agree that it's a down to go, right? There is a down to go.
I agree with that things order themselves. Well, no, because there are things that go up. They go up either down, but as far as I can tell, those are the two directions they go, down or up.
You need a down because that's what contradicts up, right? If you don't have down,
and that orientation of things under you and digging, and you can't have flying. Like this is why it's a system, a created God's intelligent design system. Because the only reason you can look to your left is because you have a right to look away from.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Fundamentally, that's what allows us things to be ordered on the face of the earth, is that there is a down, there is a preferred direction that is intelligible.
I mean, we could all just call that gravity, right? It doesn't really matter. Where the contention is the mass pulling to the center of mass. That's what the
It's the
contention is.
point of initiation, Matrix. It's not like this magical place. It's where everything is created, right?
Yeah, Brandon, I can't say anything. I could get a half a sentence out.
Sorry, Left Lane, go ahead.
over
Yeah, we got to be cognizant he's the only globe enthusiast in here. Go ahead.
Oh, no, it's not just me. I mean, it's like, it's hard to have interpret a conversation from the outside when everybody's.
Quit your whining and just say what you want to say.
I was trying to trigger Travis, and look what I did. But it's
Reel that big fish
what
in.
I was going to say about the down is the thing about down is there's an acceleration. Things accelerate down.
What does the acceleration matter? Because things don't move without accelerating. You can't go from a standing still point to somewhere else. You can't move to that other position without accelerating. It's impossible. So what does acceleration prove? Anything that moves accelerates.
And also, as opposed to what?
Yeah. How else would it happen?
It's a force.
But how else would it happen? What would be the opposite of that?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Can something move from a standing still point without accelerating? So if something is knocked out of equilibrium and it has to move up or down based on the medium it's in, it has to accelerate to get to its new equilibrium point. You can't move there without accelerating.
It depends on something caused it. So there was a force involved.
Well, it doesn't matter if there's a force or not. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter what the system is. The system could be unicorns farting and moving the objects in a certain direction. If the object is at an equilibrium point and it moves for some reason, it has to accelerate to go to a new equilibrium point.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree with that.
Okay. People say that. No, there's an acceleration. I just don't understand why that distinction means that the model of gravity that's been put forward has to be mass attracting mass. It just seems like a red herring.
Because to have an acceleration, you have to have a force. It's very, very, very simple.
So I was gonna say that
Are trees
Hey,
accelerating?
Brandon.
Hey, what's up, Silent Zero?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it's because they have the idea that you can only accelerate things with force, right?
Well,
That's
then what?
it
Yeah,
seems.
Rumpus, are trees
What's the
accelerating
force that's
downwards?
getting the planet to go around the sun?
Rumpus, remember, Rumpus is the guy that said that if you throw a ball
Mass
upwards,
attracting mass, gravity. That's the
Rumpus
bullshit.
is the
But
guy
gravity's
that
not a
said that
force.
Rumpus
Remember?
is the guy that said if you throw a ball upwards, it's accelerating downwards, also accelerating upwards, right?
No, I didn't say it was accelerating upwards, you twat. I said if you throw
Yes,
a ball
you did.
upwards, listen, you don't listen because you don't listen, and when you do listen, you don't understand. This is your problem.
That's
So
one.
try and remember what I'm about to say, and don't misquote me. If you throw a ball up with a velocity, let's say 5,000 miles an hour, all the way up to when it stops accelerating, it is decelerating. So it's decelerating, not accelerating.
Is it
you're
accelerating
stupid.
upwards?
Yeah, no, it's
How does it
accelerating
get up?
downwards. You twat.
How
Downwards.
does it get up?
Isn't
How does it
acceleration
get up?
Right,
just
this
a
is what you don't
change in speed?
understand. You can still have a velocity. I mean, you're in a car. You've got a velocity.
you
when
can
you
have-
put your foot,
you can have
listen,
acceleration, deceleration at the same time.
listen. When you're in a car and you put your foot on the brake, you're still going forwards, but you're decelerating. Just as when you throw a ball up, say at 5,000 miles an hour, really fast, it can still be going upwards, but still decelerating. And in the comet vomit, where they emulate 0G, they actually do that at the point where the aeroplane is going upwards. It's still going upwards, but it's
cool.
decelerating. When you
I get
feel
you.
weightless, it's there's no acceleration.
So when that ball comes
it's
back
not-
down and hits the ground, is it still accelerating? When it hits the ground, it's
Oh,
at rest. Is it
right,
still
okay.
accelerating?
Okay, I'll explain. So the
It only accelerates when it
hold on,
reaches
let me- I'm just- hold on, let me
maximum
fix- Hold on, I'd like to
velocity,
respond to that
and then
point. Hold
it
on, I'd like to
accelerates
respond.
down
I'd
towards
like
the
to
Earth.
respond to the point about the guy who, the real Bob Dole, whoever it was, who asked it. Right. So the ball goes up to the point where it's decelerating, comes to zero, and because the acceleration is constant, the acceleration then has got only a zero velocity.
Zero
and then,
acceleration,
listen, and then so when it reaches zero velocity, say at 60 miles high. If
He's
you
gonna
throw a
use
ball,
fancy words. Explain what I literally just explained right now.
listen. So if you throw a ball up at 5,000 miles, you probably get to about 60 miles high. So it gradually decelerates at 9.81 meters per second, and then when it reaches zero velocity upwards, it'll be about 60 miles high. But the acceleration, the acceleration's still there. So now it will carry on decelerating, but its velocity will now gradually increase negatively. It was going less and less and less upwards, and then it will come down. So when it will go, hold on, and then it will increase as it accelerates towards the ground. So it's now accelerating towards the ground.
You mean falls?
And then it will carry on increasing in velocity, and then it will carry on increasing in velocity until it hits the ground and bounces off the ground, and then it will go up again, and then it would. But
That's a lie.
but the acceleration throughout that process, the acceleration throughout that process. The acceleration throughout that process.
I want to say something.
The acceleration throughout that process is a constant of minus 9.8 meters per second. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're a clown. When
You're a
the
moron.
ball,
You don't understand what I just said. You're a moron.
Yeah, you don't understand what you're saying.
Oh, I do.
So Rumpus, when the ball
Silent
hits
Zero,
the
just
ground,
respond. Wait,
when the ball
Silent
hits
Zero,
the ground,
just
it
respond to
comes
what he said.
I just want to
say,
he didn't
if you
answer my
drop the
question. Brandon, he didn't answer my question.
I'll answer your question when I get a chance, Patient Zero.
Okay. Yeah, what I said was when the ball comes
Hold on,
back
Silent
down.
Zero's talking at the moment. Let Silent Zero make his point, and then I'll answer your question.
Okay.
Yeah, well, if you drop the ball from really high up, the ball is gonna decelerate when it starts entering the thicker air. It's not a constant. It all depends on the medium where it's falling. If you drop the ball on fucking water, it may not go down at all.
Okay, you do have a point. You do have a point that air is.
Okay, but let's get back to my question because
okay, let me just finish and respond. I'll do that in a second, Patient. Let me just respond to Silent Zero. He's actually correct. He's actually correct that there are things like terminal velocity. So for a ball, if you were to throw it up at 5,000 miles an hour, it would actually, just like when a person falls, they reach a terminal velocity because of the air resistance. So he does actually have a valid point. I must admit, I was simplifying it in the case of a vacuum.
Yeah, we're talking about vacuums and all that.
So
Rumpus, when the ball actually comes to rest, right? I throw it up 5,000 miles, whatever, comes back down. You talking about
5,000 miles an hour,
velocity and all this shit. Okay, that's fine. It comes back down, hits the ground, and goes to rest. Is it still accelerating due to gravity?
It doesn't go to rest. It never goes to
still
rest.
Accelerating, right? Yeah. So you're saying
always
it's still
accelerating.
accelerating.
It's always accelerating, yeah.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Things that are standing still are accelerating. Slavery is freedom.
Dearie me, you're an idiot if you think I can. When you hit something, a force, when it hits the ground.
Slavery is freedom.
Listen, twat. So when the ball hits the ground, there is then a force of the ground acting on it that's completely the reverse of the force of the ball acting on it. So the ball comes down, it collides with the ground, and the ground exerts an equal and opposite force to the force that it imparts, and that causes it to go back up again. So there's a force that's got involved in the collision. There is a force that the ground exerts on the ball, and that's why it's then gets a new velocity. There's a opposite change of momentum, but there's still constant acceleration downwards of -9. But if you go and hit the ball, say you hit it with a bat or something.
No.
Listen. Let me finish.
Okay, hold on. Come on, man. He's got to finish up.
Nearly there.
He's taking forever.
For instance, if you hit the ball with a tennis racket, it would obviously go up if you did that. But the ground is effectively the same thing. Go ahead.
Cool. So Rumpus.
Wait, this is hold on. Wait, this is why we don't.
Right hand, real quick. So Rumpus, that ball that's on the ground that's still accelerating. If there was no resistance,
it's not still on the ground. Hold on.
Where
we're talking about. Sorry, are we talking about still? Sorry, you get confused because there's still a ball that's still on the ground.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got confused. What scenario are you talking about?
Me and you, I'm Patient Zero. We threw a ball up. You told me how it goes up and accelerates and decelerates.
So it's not still on the ground then, is it? When it hits the ground on the way down, it's not still on the ground. It's coming in at 5,000 miles an hour.
Okay, it's coming down. So now it's at rest on the ground.
No, it's not at rest. It's not at rest. Where'd you get that from?
Okay, so it's still accelerating. Just
No.
Listen.
I'm
telling you.
Let me just clear some couple of points up. When you throw a ball up at 5,000 miles an hour, let's imagine there's a vacuum.
We don't have to go through this again.
Don't go through the whole thing again.
No, it's really quick.
He's just wasting time.
It's a really quick one to say. If you throw a ball up at
Rumpus,
5,000...
he's just going to say it again. He's been talking. Okay, he's just saying it
Hold
again.
on.
He's just saying it again.
I know. This isn't helping. I'm going to cut it off in a minute. Finish your answer, and then we're going to move on.
One sentence.
Hold on.
If you throw a ball up at 5,000...
He ruins this. Rumpus ruins
Just let him finish his answer, then we're moving on. We're moving on.
No air resistance, it will come back down at 5,000.
Don't start that shit. If you guys start that shit, I'll fucking boot
5
you.
seconds left of this.
It's on
It'll
the ground.
come back down
Just let him
at
finish
5,000
his
miles an hour
fucking
when
answer.
it comes back down to ground level.
Cool.
So there you go.
And
It
it
starts at
bounces a couple
5,000 miles.
times. That's what
It'll
you said,
come back
right?
at
And then it
5,000 miles an hour.
stops.
Do you understand?
Yeah, we understand. Okay, all right. It's unproductive now.
It'll come back
Stop
at 5,000
talking.
miles an hour if there's no air
Stop
resistance.
talking. Stop talking. Stop talking. So, styrofoam
That's been
space
one
cadet.
simple sentence. I've been
And,
able to finish it.
Thank you. We got it. Yep, we got
No,
it.
you didn't.
Yes, we did. Thank you, Rumpus. We got to
Can
move
I
on to
say
the next
something,
thing.
Random?
Well, no, we got to move on to the next thing. I'm sorry.
Just a quick point. A quick point.
Okay.
Yeah,
quick
Brandon,
point.
let me finish my point.
No, I don't want to finish the point. I want to move on.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's okay. Because it's gonna go nowhere. I mean, no apologies, you guys. We can come back to it, but we've got somebody here to give us a presentation.
Here's the question.
We've got
I
somebody
just
here
wanna
to give
ask
us a
one question. I'll ask
presentation.
it to you, Brandon, not Rumpus, right?
Huh?
So when that ball's on the ground and Rumpus says that the Earth is pushing up, but the ball's
Brandon's being a
accelerating
gatekeeper
down.
for gravity.
I just want to ask Rumpus if there was no
kidding.
resistance to its acceleration downward, where would it end up?
In the center of the Earth.
I don't know. All right, let's move
Center
on.
of the Earth. That's
So
all I
we
want.
have someone
There
here
you
to
go.
give a presentation.
Center of the
Rumpus, anybody else? If you
Thanks,
can't
Brandon.
respect Smurfer Girl, what else? She's gonna talk about Foucault's pendulum. Whatever presentation she gives, I don't know if she wants questions during the presentation, but I'd like to not derail it, and I don't want to mute everybody. So let's let her give the presentation, make her points, and then if she wants to take questions afterwards, we'll wait until then. Please. Okay.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Now that we got the audience warmed up for you and the panel all nice and calmed
I
down.
bet they're nice and warmed up after that.
Yeah. So what's going on? What do you got for us?
Well, I just made a little clip of the show the other night, as sort of an intro on where the whole conversation started. So, can I share my screen, or I can give you the link to
No,
it?
go ahead. You share it. It's from this show, you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Share it, and that way the audience and the panel can hear the audio.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't done that in Discord like so long. How do I?
There's a little button that says
do that?
screen with an arrow on a white screen under where it says voice connected.
Oh, I see it now. Okay. Got it.
Cool.
Cool. And will it automatically do the audio?
Oh, Brandon,
It should.
next time you have a guest on, make sure you walk through before you come on, especially if it's okay.
Okay. Ooh,
He was
nice.
cutting out so bad I couldn't hear what he said. Walk through because of what? Especially if what?
I think he was trying to say that we're that you're a boomer.
I'll say it
I'm
again.
not sure.
I'll say it again.
Okay. Is it because I'm a girl, Travis?
No,
I'll
it's
say it again.
Mind him and just
Travis, I thought up a new name for Brandon's show. It's not Brandon, it's brand new, right?
Okay, well, I'm just gonna click this button now.
There you go.
Come on.
Sorry, Aaron.
And hopefully I shared the right. I did. Okay.
Fight the Flat Earth.
So this is where it
says
started.
He's taught his children to calculate their position on Earth exactly using nothing but a swinging pendulum.
You can. Are you guys saying you can't? You 100% can.
Can you, Eric? Don't be stupid.
Yes, you can. You can. It's.
You can
all you do is
calculate
learn the
your
math.
position on Earth
Everyone
with a
can do not the
pendulum.
exact position, but your latitude.
Okay. And what I have right here, and I'll probably go back to this. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'm going to go back to this in a second. But so there were a lot of questions, Travis had asked what came first, the observation or the invention. And what we're told is that Foucault imagined that the pendulum, after observing, something a pendulum swinging back and forth, I can't remember on what that thing was on, that if it showed, the precession, that would prove that the Earth is rotating. And so that's what he built his for. And of course, it has all, stuff to do with getting to go to, fancy school in Paris and Napoleon being excited. And of course, he's another poster child. But but what the typical, I guess the latitude thing, the finding your location, is it's supposed to tell you your latitude. And as for finding the exact location, that's sort of a joke. You use the rate of precession to find your latitude. And the only time I've ever seen mentioned that you could actually find your precise location, including the longitude, is if you look at what time of day it's supposed to be in the spot on the latitude that you're, or what time of day it is, and determine it by that. I mean, really. So I don't think there's any precise method of using the pendulum for that. But, and there was someone else had asked, do they have to be a certain size? I've probably read the blueprints for, I don't know, 15 or 20 of them. And there doesn't seem to be any specific formula. And I have a bunch of links that I'll like post in a comment later, but one of my favorites is here. Let's see, the University of Louisville. The mass assembled on the Bob is not precisely known, but we estimate it based on its density and dimensions to be weight of approximately 130 pounds. And they are magnet driven. That was another question, because obviously if you let go of it, it's going to stop. And so something that, okay, I'm going to read you this little part that they have on their website about the pendulum magnet also. It says the magnet is cylindrical in configuration so that the swing is not biased in any particular direction. It was carefully machined and wound by Dr. Moore to achieve this configuration. The circuitry triggers at the center of a swing and then actuates the magnet near the end of its swing, so it attracts the disc near the top of the cable. The timing of the electrical current pulse, which actuates the magnet, is controlled by optical sensors. And I still cannot for the life of me find, I know I read one from Harvard where they said they had set up their pendulum and it wasn't showing the proper rate of precession, so they tweaked it to make it show the proper rate of precession. And that, maybe that's been like washed from the internet, but I can't find it. And man, I wish I had like printed it on paper. But we were watching the frames, like the whole thing is just a joke, obviously. We were watching the frame of reference thing last night, and I uploaded that too, so I could show, if necessary, what they do. They have a pendulum on a huge rotating table that's big enough for the guy in the video to stand on, and he starts it rotating, he starts the pendulum swinging and then starts the table rotating, which does not at all. Sorry, I got a paper in my hand. I got to move it out of the way. It doesn't at all, represent reality, because the Earth would be constantly spinning. It's not in a stopped position and then spinning. It doesn't, like, any result you get out of that is void. It's not representing reality at all.
Yeah, the nature of the claim appears to be that the Earth is moving, therefore it's deviating the pendulum. But you'd think that all swinging objects would precess similarly, wouldn't you?
Yes, and I actually found a really good tidbit on that just today. I was so excited. Let's see. Well, I wanted to. There was a couple other ones that I wanted to finish on the size, and there is a formula. Foucault's pendulum, the big one he hung, it was a 28 kilogram brass coated bob with a 67 meter long wire. So that's not, I don't know. I don't know how that equates in, percentage to the other ones. But so the way you determine it, your latitude, is you take the precession for a 24-hour day. It's 360 times the sine of the latitude. So someone at a latitude of 40 degrees would expect a precession of 231.4 degrees in 24 hours, or 9.64 degrees per hour. And the little video clip I'm going to show next is in Munich. It's at the 48th degree latitude. It should be showing 268 degrees in a 24-hour period, or 11.2 per hour. And this isn't only, there's no audio on this, so I can just like keep talking through it. But is it still, the video still showing?
Yeah, the pendulum video? Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. So those lines on the outside edge, there's 16 spaces. So there would be 22.5 degrees between each space. And this right here, it's 154. After about, and I'm showing, so, okay. This is 2 hours and 53 minutes later, and it's the position past the mark is almost the same in each part of my clip. I did that on purpose so you could see it lines up just past that triangle. So it has gone 90 degrees in 2 hours and 53 minutes, and it should have only gone 44.8 degrees.
And where is
And
this?
then
Where's this pendulum at? Who did this one? Sorry.
This is the one. This one's in Munich, Germany, and it's actually not swinging now. And I have emails from them that are funny that I was going to read.
Excellent. Okay, keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, that's okay. And then here's the last. This is the very end of that stream. It was like, see, what was it, about 7? I can't remember. I did so many. I think the very beginning that was at the beginning of the stream. But so here it goes 3 hours and 2 minutes later, longer than the last one, and it only goes 1.2 degrees per minute. It only goes 2 spaces. So it has slowed down. And there were times that we would watch it and it would stop precessing. And people were wondering, like that thing in the wall there. All right, I'm going to stop sharing for now. The thing on the wall next to it, there was like a box that maybe covered an electrical outlet or something. People were suspecting that that was making it stop. But I caught it doing a perfectly linear swing, not precessing, going the other direction on another stream. And it's just all over the place. So I did email them. And this was quite a while ago, November 2019. I said, I think what I wrote him is not in here. I asked him a bunch of questions about, the setup of it. And this is the first answer I got. It says, I'm not in the Institute at the moment, but try to answer your questions as good as possible. Our construction has a coil in the center that registers the swinging of the bob. The outer coil will get an impulse to push the bob forward in relation to the registered movement. The outer copper ring is to damp ellipsoid moves from the bob caused by looping currents. And that's another thing I'm going to talk about, because that's really interesting to me too. The direction of current and everything. It says we stop our pendulum sometimes for cleaning and maintenance reasons, but it usually runs without any break. To restart the pendulum, we take the wire to the outer position by hand, wait a few seconds until there's no vibration in it, and then just drop the bob and let the control unit do the job. Says in the moment we have a problem because the pendulum gets stuck in a few positions. We don't know why this can happen, that it doesn't complete the circle. And they don't have any manual or description of the control unit and its electronics. So they couldn't give me, an answer on what the setup of it. But then a couple days later, someone else emailed me and said, thank you for your email and your interest in the Foucault pendulum. I'm really sorry to inform you that our pendulum is in repair now and won't be available for an indefinite period of time. But I continued doing more streams after that, after I got that email, and it's still live. You can go to the site and see it. It's still live, but it's not moving. It's been like that. I hadn't checked it for a while, but it's been like that for probably a few months now, I think. I found a paper from University of Minnesota, the celestial mathematics, something like that. I can't remember what course the guy's teaching right now. One of their professors wrote a paper, and he's saying in it that the Foucault pendulum is often given as proof of the rotation of the Earth. As the pendulum swings back and forth, the positions of maximum amplitude precess in a direction opposite to the Earth's rotation. But a nonlinear spherical pendulum on a non-rotating planet also exhibits precession. So, like you were saying, yes, it would show precession anyway. And then he says the direct precession can be reversed or stopped altogether. And there are periodic motions of the pendulum which do not precess at all. So I'm not understanding how this could even be considered, applicable really in any way. And then to speak on the, I've always wondered, since a lot of them have a big copper coil that is wound, and that's their electromagnet. Some of them have it sort of like in a plate. Some of them have it wound in a tube almost. So I was looking up. I found one. Let's see. Carleton University says for a short. This is the webpage, and I have links for this too. To their pendulum says for a short study period in the fall of 1970, after initial construction of the pendulum, it had no drive circuit and was kept in motion by Mr. Hafner, imparting a push with a 2-meter stick while leaning over the stair railing several floors up several times a day. Apparently, no one was aware of this initial power source, given its reliable nature. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Like he didn't tell anybody?
Is right in Ottawa, so I could go look at that one and take pictures of it probably. If it's the same Carleton University, it's right here.
Carleton.
Yep, Ottawa, Canada.
And then it says after that, the pendulum was driven electronically when it was installed with a Hammond transformer. And it specifically states full wave rectifier. So that was good to know that. So I've always wondered, about the coils and if that could have an influence on the precession. If it's affecting, the electromagnetic field, is it causing a spin? Because last night we were watching an old educational film on gyroscopes, and it was saying that it was the flow that it was picking up was magnetic. It didn't say because the Earth is turning. It said it was magnetic. So that was, I had a really good moment enjoying myself hearing that. So I actually ended my observation stream and started a whole conversation one about it. Just it was so exciting. But so I did find a paper on the influence of rectifiers on permanent. It's called Influence on Rectifiers on Permanent Magnet Wind Generator, Electromagnetic and Temperature Fields. It's like this long thing, but they do say in the paper that I was reading that full wave rectifier does affect the electromagnetic field and the temperature pretty dramatically. Absolutely. Around that. So, I mean, there's one that it might be the one here in Louisville. I haven't looked at the pictures in so long. That the magnetic mechanism they were using wasn't a solid, wasn't even a coil. It was a bunch of magnets that were peg shaped, arranged in a circle with big spaces in between them. How would that, and it pulls on the cord to keep it swinging when it's, there's a sensor that at the bottom that senses it's getting toward, certain distance, and it actually turns on the magnets. How that obviously to me, it seems it's going to pull it in precession, one magnet to the next. How can you even?
You know what it sounds like to me? A company that you mentioned, Hammond, they make fine electronics and, rectifiers, all this stuff, but also musical instruments, synthesizers, all this stuff from way back. And if they're involved with the motions of these pendulums somehow, it's more electronic wizardry.
Yeah.
They're basically an electronic music company.
It's what it has to be.
Well, that is.
I thought I had
that's really interesting.
else.
Oh, are you done? I'm sorry.
I thought I had something else on Louisville. But go ahead. If I find it, then I'll bring it back up.
So essentially, let me see if I have a good understanding. Just kind of rehash a part of what you said. The pendulum that you showed the video for, the live stream that you've been watching, Sometimes you'll watch it and its rate of precession will change dramatically, including sometimes the direction of precession, and even if it proceeds at all during this live stream. Is that correct?
I've not seen it full on reverse and precess counterclockwise to a large degree, but I have there was one stream that I did where we could see that the elliptical path, during its swing was counterclockwise. So I'm not sure if that if it's always doing that. It was the angle that the camera was at made it really easy to tell. You could actually see the elliptical sweeping motion it was taking. But there have been times I was streaming it and it would get stuck. Like it would be going way faster than it was supposed to, and then all of a sudden it would just stop precession.
Yeah, that's why they're repairing it. It's faulty.
Of course.
Now they're repairing it. So you're going on about some faulty focal pendulum, which has absolutely nothing to do with the principle, which has been established and verified by thousands, if not tens of thousands of people over the years.
Oh,
And
you mean mechanism
and
that's
hold on,
supposed to force precession properly.
you yourself could set up a Focus pendulum that doesn't have a motor. You get the effect without a motor, so the motor issue is completely and utterly irrelevant.
Glad that you gave us this presentation, and I was quite honored to watch it and be here.
Does anybody have any questions for Smurfer Girl Whatevs about her presentation?
Well, I was wondering about this alley effect. I don't know if you guys have covered that yet. I just got back in. But supposedly there's some sort of deviation in the pendulum that's extremely anomalous during eclipses known as the alley effect. Have you heard about anything like that?
I have, and unfortunately I did not watch the pendulums during the last one. So I'm not able to witness it myself. But yeah, I have read about that it throws them off. And
what was that?
I've read things that that show that they can be really unpredictable. They don't stay, just swinging unless, and what I'm speaking on here is the ones without mechanisms that force swing. And I'm not going to say force precession. I have the feeling they do. But if you can see them admit that they get it going and the rate of precession, it doesn't match the latitude, so they alter it.
Only with a faulty Focus pendulum. You've got nothing here. You're just basically citing a faulty Focus pendulum, which they're currently repairing, and that's all you're saying.
That was only one of them.
Well,
the two that I played last night weren't even included in that.
Well, okay, you have so far all you've done is to point out that they're repairing a faulty Focus pendulum.
No,
so
that's
what?
not all she's done. Don't try to
That
minimize
is
her
all she's
presentation.
done. That's all you've so far provided us evidence
So
for.
did you have your speakers turned off during the part where I said that the rectifier manipulates?
Do you know what a full wave rectifier is?
His CD cuts
Hold on,
in.
hold on. Do you know what a full wave rectifier is?
I don't know all of the technical
No,
details
do you have
but I
any
do know
idea?
that I have
Do you have
found
any
research.
idea what a full wave rectifier is?
Are you a focal pendulum expert as well, Rumpus?
All right. Thanks, Rumpus. Appreciate the coming on the show. All right.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, the thing is,
I expected that though. Honestly, I expected someone to bring up something that's utterly unrelated to test if I knew all the details and buzzwords on it. And she
One of the
doesn't know.
tactics.
Yeah,
That's
she
fair.
doesn't know what that means. So all of her stuff is null and void.
What he did was, while she was talking the presentation, he did a quick read up on it, and he just came on to play the expert. That's what.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this is a productive conversation, so I'd like to keep it productive. Forget about Rumpus.
Doesn't it kind of sound like Cavendish, right? Like it's this thing, you set it up, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and if it doesn't work, it's because you set it up wrong.
Well, the thing is,
best in a non-gravity, it works best in a vacuum. All their things, they work best in a vacuum, if you notice that.
Well, the underarching philosophy is kept untouchable, even though the math isn't matching up exactly or whatever. Or they're just saying, "Oh, it's good enough. We're going to keep this philosophy anyway," even though the numbers don't quite match up. They're like, "Well, we're just going to use the math for our philosophy anyway." So it's like, how are we interpreting this? You know, does the Earth have to move? That's the question. Does this pendulum have to go in a straight line, or is it allowed to have deviation with or without a moving ball Earth?
Well, no, like the one that I read a minute ago, the paper that I read from that professor, he said that it, without even being on something rotating, that it would still show precession anyway. So how could you even use that?
So true, and I think they're keeping the base philosophy intact and not even submitting it to mathematical verification. This mathematical positivist school that says the numbers match up, therefore it has to be real, ignores the fact that there still needs to be an interpretation guided by some sort of base philosophy that says either the Earth is moving or it is not, or whatever.
And fundamentally, when something is like if you let something go in free swing, it's going to move in a straight line. It's going to move in the shortest distance because there's nothing powering it to manipulate its direction to take a non-direct path. So to say that this thing is somehow doing not that is also like physically impossible.
We also have
a bowling ball with an offset weight, and it can skew like a straight line from a rolling ball. An offset weight in a pendulum can certainly skew how it's going to move back and forth. You see, it's like falling off. It depends where the center of mass is, how they fall.
The socket joint, the way that it was let go, it's hard to isolate any of this stuff. And so they're assuming that it would go in a straight line unless the Earth is moving beneath it. But even philosophically, that is questionable. There's a bunch of other stuff we could look at flat or round, or moving or not.
Yeah, I know if I were to let one go, long or short, if I didn't give it no bias one way or the other, it would move back and forth like a pendulum. If I give it bias, it'll start spinning in a circle a little bit at a time.
Everything is flowing through a current here on Earth, whether it be magnetic or electrical or both, or a combination thereof, and that's going to make certain things flow in a certain direction depending on their path of resistance. So if anyone can tell me how to take out the magnetic current or flow of Earth, we'll win a Nobel Prize together. Thank you.
There's a couple, one question in the chat. Ian Adam says, am I getting this wrong? What is the top of the pendulum fixed to? There's different, I've seen them attached to ball bearings. So they, they'll have some sort of attachment that keeps it from being biased toward any direction of swing. And then sometimes the electromagnetic mechanism is at the bottom and sometimes it's at the top.
Hell, you could use a fidget spinner at the top.
Well, if it's a ball bearing, right, no bearing is made perfectly spherical. There's going to be imperfections, and when you have multiple runs and courses over those imperfections, it's going to cause not a back and forth motion. So from a mechanical standpoint,
are not like that, though. Most of the ones I've seen are not like that.
I would assume any mechanism you're using to swing back and forth is going to rely on a mechanical part that is not perfect.
Mechanical wear and tear happens to everything mechanical. The pendulum is a mechanical device. It has to suffer wear and tear.
One really interesting thing that I've noticed is that there are no Foucault pendulum streams to be found in the southern hemisphere. There are none. And I found one 5-minute video of one. And I've read that most of them are in the northern hemisphere. So I mean, it should, if it worked properly and it did what it was, indicated, it should go counterclockwise in its precession.
Yeah, is there any on the equator?
Well, if it was on the equator, it would be perfectly linear.
Yeah. Is there any there though to prove?
Not that I've found. No.
The thing is, you can go to Wikipedia and it will list some in the southern hemisphere. So yeah. I guess, yeah.
But you can't actually see them.
I nominate I nominate Bev to take a Foucault down to the equator and check it out.
There's one in Sydney, Australia. I know that. It's not. I can't watch it though. Someone would have to go there. They do exist. There's one in South Africa. But I mean, how can I watch it without actually going there?
Moving, which is what the Foucault pendulum proponents, use as evidence of movement of the Earth, and by extension, movement of a spherical Earth. At this point, they need to defend their pendulum against other possible causes, round or not. Why is it that a round moving Earth is the only thing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, limit. What you need to do is construct a Foucault pendulum and disprove it.
But the thing is, they need to defend their philosophy against critique. Why is it that a moving Earth, philosophically, is the only thing that we're interpreting this for?
Yeah, and it's like, okay, it shows precession, so that must be it. There you go. The Earth is turning.
They disprove themselves.
Yeah, but I think that what we're forgetting again is the natural correlation for any body removed from the surface of the Earth to have the Earth moving underneath it. So it goes back to my initial question. Was there a Foucault pendulum that was set up apart from any concept of Earth's momentum? And they just made one. And then they said, hey, look, this thing's deviating. What the hell is that from? And then they worked out how to understand, you know what, this is because of, okay? It's not been. They understand the laws of momentum. They know that if the Earth is moving and you have something suspended above it in a separate reference frame, that there's going to be deviation. That's why they created this, because they know that's what the laws of physics would demand. However, you don't get deviation with helicopters or projectiles or hot air balloon. Okay?
But projectiles do deviate.
No, they do not. They do not deviate as a result of the alleged spin of the Earth, Howard.
It's just like the Cavendish experiment when we just talked about. So they're asserting that something is happening, and then they're setting up this pendulum as a demonstration, and they're saying, look, this is doing this because of this thing, which is Earth spin. But they haven't ever substantiated the Earth spin in the first place. They've got a correlation, and it sounds like a very weak correlation that doesn't always work, and that these things are very sensitive and don't proceed as is, what is it called? They are said to. But then they say, okay, it correlates, therefore our initial assumption is true, when it also correlates to a whole bunch of other things.
They disprove themselves, Brandon, because the base would have to be rotating for it to process in a 360 degrees. Now that means the building has to be rotating, and unless they are on directly above the poles, the building is heading east on their ludicrous model.
Yeah, you linked a video, Brian. That's an interesting thing that you're saying there. Should I bring this video up? We take a look at this, or?
They cannot work. It's impossible unless they are directly above their ludicrous assumption of a pole.
That's not how it works.
Oh no, they don't work at all. It's ludicrous. For them to process in 360 degrees, the building would have to be rotating.
He's right.
The base needs to rotate. If they say the pendulum just goes backwards and forth, then the base has got to rotate. That means the building's rotating. That means the building would have to be put directly on the poles. Anywhere else on the globe, it is all going east.
Right, that's not a rotation. Yeah, right. Which goes back to what we were watching last night on Smurfagirl's channel. The demonstration that he shows is on a flat, rotating surface like a merry. I'm sorry. The Earth is not a flat, rotating surface. Allegedly, right? It's a sphere.
Right, and it
So
doesn't stop so you can swing the pendulum.
Right. It doesn't. Nothing in this discussion is even sensible. Nothing is sensible. Howard, come on, man.
It is just part of their deception.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. It seems like they set out to, and even if you read this Smithsonian thing about the Foucault pendulum, it says, the Foucault pendulum, which was displayed for many years in the Smithsonian National Museum, blah, blah, blah. The Foucault pendulum is named for the French physicist who first used it in 1851 to demonstrate the rotation of the Earth. That does not sound like an experiment to me, first of all. And he had already assumed that the Earth was rotating, so he set this up to demonstrate that the Earth was rotating. He was trying to substantiate his already concrete belief in Earth rotation.
The base can only rotate if the building is directly on one of their, either the North or the South Pole. Anywhere else, all of the building is heading east, not rotating.
Not only that, but if the Earth is spinning and is able to influence pendulum to move, it's going to do that if it's pendulum as well, because you've got a fulcrum, you've got a point of axis, right?
Yeah, so it would influence the swing as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it wouldn't matter.
precede.
It wouldn't matter if it was stationary or swinging. If the Earth is able to influence that mass, it's going to do it in both situations.
Do you want me to play the clip where he's doing that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
What channel is it on? It's not something we'll get a strike for, is it?
No, I put it in 2 streams last night and uploaded it myself today.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It's old. It's an old video.
Yeah, Ian Adams says it's a parlor trick. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Ian.
It is.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Turns out
Great show, by the way.
we're at the North Pole of the Earth. The plane of
This is right before he goes in and does it.
relative to the stars, but would rotate relative to the Earth. Now I'll have to show you what I mean.
Funny, the Earth under his hand wasn't moving.
This pendulum is at the center of this turntable, which will represent the Earth. Now I'm going to start the table turning around in this direction. I'll put a black arrow on so that you'll remember. All right, start the rotation. The pendulum is at the North Pole of the Earth, and you will motion as you ordinarily do, standing on
Now
the
the
Earth.
base is rotating.
The plane of swing rotates
Yeah.
in the opposite direction.
That's the only way it could possibly work, would be the building would have to
Exactly the
rotate.
same rate. Now look at it from the fixed camera. which will
Yeah, but again, the
represent
model
plane of the
is
stars.
not a model of the Earth. It's not even
The
remotely
turntable,
comparable.
the Earth rotates,
No.
but the plane of the pendulum remains fixed.
Now, anywhere other than on the pole, on a globe, is all moving east. It does not, the building does not rotate.
Of this film. Let's look
Oh, I
back
see what you're
again
saying.
now.
That base of that is rotating.
This Foucault pendulum.
Yeah, and that's how the building would have to rotate. Wherever it is, the museum or whatever it's in, would have to rotate. And it would have to rotate on the central point of where it is pivoted from.
Isn't as long
Yeah,
now.
he said that right at the very beginning. It's right over the center of the thing.
During the
Yeah,
half
yeah, yeah.
hour that we've been talking to you.
I have the magnetic gyroscope thing set up ready to play too if you want to hear that part.
Yeah, let's hear it.
This is some good work. This, I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's top notch presentation. I like it.
Thank you. I think I need. Okay, there it goes. Is that working properly? I think it is.
The magnetic compass is particularly accurate between 60 degrees north and south latitudes. But near either of the poles, the dip angle of the Earth's magnetic lines of force causes this compass to become unstable. The MA1 compass system combines these two instruments into one system that uses their advantages and eliminates their disadvantages. The magnetic compass, in the form of a flux valve, is mounted remotely in the tail or wingtip, away from the worst magnetic disturbances within the aircraft. The gyro is also mounted remotely from the indicator dial. The system is designed for two modes of operation. In the free gyro mode, the gyro alone controls the indicator dial. In the slaved mode, the magnetic compass controls the gyro. We will first examine the slaved mode of operation. We will represent the flux valve as a magnetic needle mounted on the rotor of a synchro transmitter. The needle will remain aligned with the Earth's magnetic field while the aircraft turns in any direction. The stator of the compass transmitter is connected electrically to the stator of a synchro control transformer. The gyro's outer gimbal is mounted on the rotor of this synchro. When the outer gimbal is properly oriented to the magnetic needle, there is zero output from the control transformer. But if the aircraft changes heading or the gyro drifts around the vertical axis, the outer gimbal is not properly oriented. The control transformer immediately sends an error signal through an amplifier to the torque motor mounted on the inner gimbal. The torque motor applies the proper torque to the inner gimbal, and the outer gimbal precesses to proper orientation with the magnetic needle, at which time the error signal is canceled. The magnetic needle may oscillate and send an oscillating signal to the gyro. However, the gyro's rigidity in space is such that it does not respond quickly to slight changes in the needle. Instead, it aligns itself with the average position of the needle. Mounted above the gyro is a synchro transmitter, which continuously measures the deviation of the gyro case from the outer gimbal. It transmits this information to the indicator dial, where another synchro positions the compass card to indicate the aircraft's heading. Thus, in the slaved mode of operation, the gyro is a drift-free, stable indicator of magnetic direction. In the free gyro mode, the flux valve is disconnected from the gyro. When the gyro is oriented properly, it tends to hold that orientation. However, it is subject to apparent drift, which increases as the gyro approaches one of the poles. Apparent drift is corrected automatically by latitude compensation circuit. The aircraft's latitude is set manually into the system and changed whenever necessary. This sends an appropriate and constant voltage to this torque motor. The motor applies a constant torque to the inner gimbal. As a result, the outer gimbal precesses constantly at a given rate to offset the apparent drift, and the gyro sends accurate directional information to the indicator dial. Electric gyroscopic instruments are dependable at the low...
Oh, what happened?
Oh, that was the end of it.
Oh, okay.
It just was going to go on to talk you up about how those instruments are dependable and everything. But yeah, so I thought that was pretty great because it didn't talk about, it needing to compensate for, anything but the magnetic influence on it. So I'd never heard it, put that way before.
Yeah, I'm not sure I 100% understood the video. I think I'd have to watch it a couple more times to have it sink through my thick skull, but maybe you can summarize it for
No,
us.
well, I mean, what he was saying is that the drift that the and compensation that needs to, or that the gyro was experiencing was based on the magnetic flows, the magnetic flow of Earth, not that it's the Earth is turning. It was the magnetic lines around the Earth causing it. The ether is causing the gyroscope, is altering the gyroscope, not the
Okay.
spin of the air where the plane is.
So the magnetic field is throwing that off,
Yeah,
essentially.
the magnetic field is doing it. Yeah.
Okay. What in the globe model, the magnetic field rotate with the Earth, or is there a separate rotation for the magnetic field in the model?
It would not rotate. It would still be that. It's still proclaimed to be the torus field. It's like imagine like a water fountain spraying up and then out in like a circular area, and then out the North Pole, and then it goes down around to the bottom and gets sucked back in one point in the South Pole, and then spit back up out the top. So it's like a donut. So there are flux lines on the outside that crisscross. I mean, it can't be. It's going north and south.
Right. But this whole thing, like, if there's one of these lines, this yellow line, does it rotate around the Earth like the magnetic field is spinning?
Rotate with a magnet, right?
Yeah, it's going from from the South Pole through the center to the North Pole, and also rotating at the same time. So you have like bombarding lines.
Right.
It's sort of at a.
Well, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so you use the example of so then we have a vision of the.
You're cutting out, Travis.
Yeah.
Cutting out.
I use the example of what?
All right, how about now? Is it now?
No.
Okay, I'll come back when.
Okay.
So George, it says magnetic flow of Earth, LOL, such nonsense. What do you think the magnetic poles are? Do you think they're just fixed locations of something that's really strong, like sucking metal things there? I mean, do you not realize that they are connected to each other on a magnet?
You and Brandon brought up a great point, at least in my mind, about magnetics, and I don't care what the shape is, just the idea of North and South Pole, like Iz is saying. If I spin that magnet, does the flux spin also? Right? That's a great question, Brandon.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. That was my question. Thank you. Yeah, so exactly, when you spin the magnet, does the field spin with it?
Yeah, it creates a magnetic field. That's what happens. That's what flux can do. Of course, it doesn't have to spin though. It doesn't have to spin to be a field.
If you look up those Taurus magic toys, it gives you a really good visual representation of it, and you can actually roll. I have one, and you can roll it like up and down your arm, and it's the motion. It's like line, like it's shape. It's like a slinky almost, but it's end connected, and so it opens up into that donut shape, and as it rolls, it's really good for visualizing, the lines, the flux lines, the waves, whatever you want to call them, because it rolls in and out of itself in the center, like your arm is sort of like where it's flowing through, but the lines on the outside are also, they're slanted, and it gets this like rotating look to it. It doesn't have to, but like he was saying a second, it doesn't have to rotate in a circle though.
Right. The field doesn't. You don't have to have the magnet rotate for the torus field to be there.
No,
it increases. It does increase when movement is, especially rotation. I'll give you another thing about magnets. You can place a magnet on a certain area on your body, and it'll increase the blood flow to that area for whatever reason. Magnetics are long been used in healing power and increasing blood flow. You
Well,
know,
the iron in your blood, maybe
flexibility.
it's pulling more. Maybe you're pulling more oxygen to your cells just because of the iron that would be in your blood and the magnet being attracted to that. I wonder if that's.
You can do all types of stuff. Flexibility tests, balance tests with Matt. You know, when you can do a flexibility test, like bend over 2 or 3 times and measure how far you can bend over, and then put magnets around your back area wherever you're bending, and roll magnets on you, and then bend down again. You'll go twice as far. It's amazing. Magnets are a huge part of our world, right? We have a magnetic field around us, so of course, the magnetic force is a loose term, right? Is going to affect things.
Have you ever
How-
seen the demonstration? Ken, what's his last name? Does
Wheeler.
the
Wheeler.
Wheeler, yeah, where he takes the 2 magnets and puts them in the ferrocell, and you can actually see in between the 2 magnets, it's creating like, it looks like almost like a black hole. It's not, they're not being attracted or pushing apart. They're creating this space in the center where either something else has to be pushed or pulled from there. I can't remember which direction it was, but that was really amazing to see. I like downloaded that. I got so excited when I saw that.
Well, that's cool. I appreciate the presentation, Smurfer Girl. And
thank you.
It's about time to wrap up, so we'll do final thoughts. But do you have anything to conclude with, or are you good? We can talk after the in the after show too, if you have more.
No, that's it. And yeah, just I don't know. I hope everyone can be as curious as I am about these things, and I mean, that's, to me, us sitting here talking about that, it's obviously debunkable. But if you can find all these patterns of just, okay, that's not, it's not consistent, that should be a red flag to people. So yeah,
Absolutely
stay
agree.
curious.
All right. Well, thank you for coming over. You're welcome anytime to bring your research. You're in the right place for sure. Okay, so let's start off with Allie B. Allie B, final thoughts. Bev, try thinking.
Brilliant night. Smurfer Girl, I love that. That was very good. Obviously your thing. And yeah, I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely something I've spent a lot of time doing.
All right,
I enjoyed it.
Thanks, Bev. Brian.
Yeah, great show again. Well done. And lovely presentation. Nice night.
Thanks, Brian. Travis.
Let's see how it was. I think the thing that we continually have to create an environment.
Oh, we're only getting every other word, Travis. Sorry.
Smurf.
C4 did throw in a super chat. Thanks, Smurfer Girl. Whatevs with the smiley face. So he appreciated your presentation, Smurfer Girl. Thanks, C4.
Thank you, C4. That's nice.
Global virus foe. Jimbo.
Good show. Great presentation. Thanks for it.
Thanks, Jimbo. Left lane. You're lighting up, but I don't hear anything. You and Travis are in a caravan or something. You're in the same area. We'll come back, Howard. Just I'll try again. Matrix Media, Jay. Patient Zero, Aaron.
So I asked Rumpus earlier, about throwing the ball up and throwing the, he had said before that if you throw a ball up, it's actually accelerating up and down at the same time. He came in, Rumpus, just like he does, and then told us how it falls down and then told us a whole bunch more about how it bounces and all this crap. All I wanted to know is when the ball gets to the ground, and it's at rest, he clearly yelled at me and said, "It's not at rest. It's still accelerating downward." So I asked him, "Okay, well then, a couple folks jumped in, no big deal." And I tried to get Rumpus to say, what is it still accelerating downward? He said yes, and I said, "Okay. If there was no resistance, where would it end up?" And he said, "At the center of the Earth," right? And this is all in the banks. So my thinking is, that resistance, what's it called, Rumpus? What's the resistance called? And he'll call it ground or earth or whatever. And I will say, well, is that still accelerating towards the center of the Earth? Isn't the ground still accelerating towards the center of the Earth? And how come the ground that the ball or the we stand on are not just going like sucked to the center of the Earth, right? Is the center of the Earth made of baseballs? Cheers, Brandon. Thank you.
That was something, Aaron. Thank you very much. Yeah, I know you were trying to get that out when Rumpus was here, so sorry I cut it off, but it was devolving pretty quickly. Paige. Okay, sorry, I fell asleep for a minute. Plague Zero.
Great show, Brandon, and brilliant presentation from Smurfagirl. And congratulations and good luck moving forward with the show, Brandon.
Cool. Thank you very much. Rakia.
Thank you.
Yeah, magnetism, electromagnetism, electricity, static electricity, all combined. The study of that, the study of how compasses work. We're told that compasses point towards the north because of a magnetic pull, but it's basically just in a field, and it's making that piece of metal do what it does because of that. There's more to everything they tell us. We all know that. They do tell us bits and pieces of truth. It's up to us to find out the rest. I think we're on the right track.
Oh yeah, thanks, Rakia. Rob Keane. SE.
Hi, good show.
Oh, thanks, Rob.
Yeah, thank you. Good show, Brandon. Shout out Smurfer Girl. Good presentation. And Rumpus, very, very bad what you did. Shame on you.
Yeah. And in Ranty's Discord, Dank put a link to the Ken Wheeler's video I was talking about. It's really beautiful. You should see it if you haven't.
Cool. I'll pop that in the YouTube chat for those guys too. Smurfer Girl. Any final thoughts?
No. Thank you, everybody, for your kind words. I appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you. Bob.
I'll pass.
All right. Rumpus. Oh, he's on deafen. And my final thoughts. Thank you very much. We have one last piece of business before I conclude. Oh, Howard, did you have any final thoughts? I said I'd come back to you.
No, I was just gonna tell Smurfer Girl good job and congratulations on your channel. And
thank you.
Yeah, good luck with it.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I did put the link earlier to the channel. Whoa, Dank just donated $25. Ha! More Smurfer Girl whatevs, please. So he definitely liked you, and that's good for me. So I want you around more too, Smurfer Girl. I'm just kidding.
Nice.
All right, I did put the link to your channel again in the chat, so go check that out. She's got some videos up, and she does live streams, so that's pretty cool. And I have one more piece of business. I said I would do a drawing for a winner from Ranty's Pantry, and here we are. It is the 2nd of November, so I'm going to do that drawing right now. I did it on this little thing, random picker, put all the entries in. There was 20 entries. Much appreciated.
2nd of December, actually. December.
Damn, I keep saying November. Thank you. Just wait till it comes to next year. I'll probably say 2020 until March.
No worries.
All right. So I'm gonna see the results, and we'll see who the winner is, and I will coordinate with that person to pick out their gift from Ranty's Pantry, and let's see who it is. Come on, work. There we go. Flat for life. Flat for life. Shout out Flat for life. You are the winner. So we'll get together. I'll hit you up on your channel, and we'll figure things out. Probably just email you, actually. So thank you. Thanks to everybody who donated during November. Appreciate it. Flat for Life gets a free gift from Ranty's Pantry.
Is it really hard for you not to say it the other way?
Yeah, because every time I say pantry now, I think about panties. And it just wants to come out of my mouth.
It sounds, it rhymes and it flows out the mouth perfectly. And
whoa.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Ranty, you got to do that, man.
Panties.
All great.
Oh, dearie.
Like I said, I even looked for a distributor, like somebody who could do custom panties. I looked for it online.
I actually started designing a pair the other day. An ad, like a logo. So it's coming. Don't worry.
Awesome. We'll get that done. We'll get that done. That'll sell like hotcakes. I know.
Like a logo that says "Where's your balls?" like on panties. That'd be great.
Oh my goodness.
I like it. So anyway, congrats to Flat for Life. Thanks to the panel. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the presentation. And we'll be back tomorrow, 5:05 Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to go on mute for a minute. I'll be back, and then I will be recording an after show. Probably release that this weekend along with the other ones. We got some good stuff from earlier in the week. And thanks, everybody. All right. Well, that was a good show. Good stuff. We had our little 5 minutes of rumpus. A good discussion in the beginning about the Babs and Bev debate over on Jose's channel. Pretty good debate. I would recommend checking it out. Although it was a bit confusing. You probably got much of the highlights here. And maybe Babs will come and kind of clear up the little bit of confusion that some of us have, if that's possible.